Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, noble citizens of New Eden. Welcome in the third day of CSM16 candidate interviews. With me here today, as always, your favorite CCP Swift. CCP Swift, hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm like so excited. I can't believe we're halfway through the interviews, but we've got a great slate of candidates lined up today, starting with Robert Downey Iron today, and just coming up. You can see him right there. And we also have CCP Alpha doing some extra translation work for us so we can really get into the nitty gritty.
That's awesome. I can hear you guys saying my volume is a little bit low. So I am just going to try and fix that as much as I can. Uh, so if you can bear with me 1 second here, you can already see the campaign thread for Robert. Also here with us is CCP Alpha, who is going to be our sterile translator, just to make it easier for Robert to really convey all of the information that he wants to share with us today. Definitely, I expect all of you guys to give him a huge round of applause for coming up here, talking to us. I think it's amazing to really step outside of your comfort zone so much and speak with the community
Yeah,
in
I'm
mother
abs-
tongue.
I'm the voice from beyond.
That's right.
And if you guys are unfamiliar with the format, we have CSM candidates running for CSM16. This is our third day. You can catch up on the first 2 days by either watching the Twitch VOD here on CCP's Twitch channel or over on the EVE Online YouTube page. Day one is already up. Day two should be up pretty soon. And it'll give you ample time to follow through to learn more about candidates. But we're not the only resource. A lot of members of the community are also holding CSM interviews with these candidates. I believe CCP Alpha actually held some interviews this morning on his stream over here on CCPTV. I also know Asharathi is doing quite a few over on his channel. And DTM 135 on his Twitch channel has a large CSM Royale debate scheduled for 2100 tomorrow. So this is really just a teaser so you can get to know your candidates in order to figure out which ones you want to learn more about and discover some unheard voices.
Yeah, that's right. Checking the mic again. Is it any better for people watching us on Twitch on Facebook?
I think so. It's much louder for me, so I'm assuming it's in a good spot for everyone else.
Cool. If not, just let me know. I will be fiddling with this on my side. There is still plenty of boosts I can put into the microphone, so no stress. Uh, but it's half past. Robert is here. I can see he is eager to start. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's give the floor to Robert Downey Iron, one of our Russian-speaking candidates this year in the CSM 16 elections. CCP Alpha, if you would do us the honors and translate and simply introduce Robert and invite him to talk to us. I really want to know what he has to say.
Sure thing. I'll just talk to him for a little bit. So you guys probably in chat will be like, what is happening, but just give it a moment. Роберт, что, в принципе, можем начинать. В принципе, начни, наверное, с того, что представь себя и, в принципе, я так понимаю, допамин начнет время, которое тебе отвели 10 минут. Или просто расскажи о своей платформе и так далее, ну, с паузами для меня.
Всем привет, меня зовут Виталий, это мое настоящее имя. В игре известен как Роберт Дауни Айрон. В EVE Online я относительно недавно, по меркам игры, то есть чуть больше 2 лет, почти 3. Первое время своей, так сказать, игровой деятельности я старался промышлять в одиночестве, изучая игру, изучая ее все недра. Вот. И позже, набравшись немного опыта, решил делиться своим опытом, который я получил в EVE Online, с другими. И сообщество EVE Online встретило меня, я бы сказал, очень тепло. Я был очень доволен той отдачей, которую игроки несли за собой. И мне было очень приятно. Я решил взяться за свою работу именно в медиа вплотную, чтобы делиться с игроками тем, что мне, в принципе, интересно. Но как ремесло это тяжелое, то есть создавать видеоконтент, постоянно нужно быть в курсе всех новостей. И я стал охватывать уже больше информации, чтобы игроки могли, даже новые игроки и PvP-направленные игроки, понимать и усваивать базовую информацию и в онлайн, и тем самым поддерживая меня хотя бы лайком. Это самое важное, что я могу сейчас сделать для EVE Online. Наверное, единственное.
Спасибо за длинный текст для перевода. Hi, my name is Vitaly. That's my real life name, and I go by the name of Robert Downey Jr. in game. I have played the game not for that long of a time compared to many others, but I really enjoy it, and I have been learning a lot like about the game over the time that I've been playing it, and I've started my own channel to share that experience with others, and I have been very happy that like and pleased that like people would help and support me, and I have been expanding my knowledge of EVE because of it, and trying to learn more about the game so I could produce better content, better streaming content for everyone. Which is it? Вроде все перевел.
Is that the translation?
Yeah.
All right, cool, awesome. That's a great start, Robert. Fantastic.
Замечательный старт.
I'm especially happy to hear that you are fairly new in EVE Online, yet you're really trying to get on the CSM and really give back to the community, which is an extremely noble thing to do, and I would like to commend you for that.
Дополнительно хочет отблагодарить тебя за то, что ты вот хоть и сравнительно недавно начал играть, но уже хочешь стать членом CSM и хочешь как бы вернуть наверное, в сообществу, как бы вернуть, ну, поддержать сообщество и поддержать его тоже так же, как они тебя поддерживают.
Это очень хорошо.
So my follow-up question would be, Robert, what do you think is like an area of expertise for you currently within EVE Online?
Дополнительный вопрос. Что ты считаешь, в какой степени ты считаешь себя экспертом в EVE Online? То есть в какой среде? То есть...
Я особо не стараюсь залезать в какие-то глубины прямо Евы, которые прям вплоть до игровой модификации, то есть до самого кода. Я стараюсь изучать все и вся, то есть понемногу, постепенно. И тот мой контент, который я создаю именно на YouTube, он может в будущем мне служить напоминанием, потому что я могу изучать очень большой массив информации, записывать его, когда она актуальная. И если я в будущем очень далеко уйду от той темы, которую я изучил, и забуду ее, я всегда смогу вернуться на YouTube, просмотреть свои старые видеоролики, и это мне освежает мою память. А что касается конкретно изучения, в чем я силен, я бы не сказал то, что я силен прям вот в конкретно. Есть люди посильнее меня, которые лучше разбираются меня в PvP. Есть люди, которые лучше меня разбираются в производстве. Вот. Я осведомлен именно базовой информацией и в онлайн, и той информацией, которой вполне хватает для того, чтобы комфортно играть в EVE Online.
Uh, I've been learning EVE Online basically, and I'm not an expert in like a lot of like the game mechanics and all of that. There's better people besides me that like are more experts in EVE Online. I'm mostly expert in like the base knowledge of EVE Online, but I've been learning and like trying to expand my knowledge more and more. And I've been creating YouTube videos, which will also serve as a help for me to remember or remind me like certain things that I might forget about the game mechanics. As they would basically help other people as well.
Okay, wonderful. Swift, you wanna hit the next question?
Yeah. So on that knowledge or on that note, your CSM campaign says that you tackle problems in a creative manner. How would you bring that skill to the CSM?
Ты написал в своей компании, что ты будешь использовать, ну, наверное, решать проблемы креативным образом. Можешь ли ты предоставить какой-нибудь пример, как бы ты решал это, пройдя в CSM?
Дело в том, то, что мои взгляды на какую-либо реальность, на какое-либо действие не всегда совпадают с общими взглядами большинства. То есть и в большинстве случаев, я оказываюсь прав в решении какой-либо проблемы. Но я не утверждаю ни в коем случае то, что именно мой взгляд, он прям вот как око, которое Саурона, которое простирается сквозь недра и видит все проблемы. Нет, конечно, я такой же обычный живой человек, просто у меня, скорее всего, немножко иная точка зрения. Вот. Возможно, я в себе ошибаюсь, но на самом деле я считаю, что это так.
I'm mostly like able to like solve problems, and I have like solutions that are creative solutions to problems that some people will not agree with, but like I normally am correct. This doesn't mean that I am just like, you know, Sauron's eye, that's like all seeing eye that I know everything, but generally like that's the case.
Okay. That sounds good for sure. What I would also be interested in is, should you get elected for the CSM, I would be really curious to hear how do you plan to interact with your community and how do you plan to interact with the players that would really be supporting you in the elections after that.
Допамин спрашивает, если тебя выберут в CSM, как ты планируешь продолжить общение с сообществом? В принципе, что ты будешь при этом делать, когда тебя изберут, и как будешь общаться с избирателями?
У меня очень большой массив, наверное, зрителей, так сказать, целевой аудитории, с которой я всегда и часто контактирую. И очень часто у меня задают те или иные вопросы, конечно, на которые я не могу всегда точно дать ответ, потому что я не разработчик, я всего лишь контент-мейкер, обычный смертный, который пользуется тем, что дано, и то, что обозреваю. То есть просто сжимаю всю информацию в некий куб, который предоставляю им, чтобы они не тратили очень много времени на изучение. Я просто им это демонстрирую, как проще сделать. Первое, что бы я хотел, сделать, это в первую очередь, конечно, наладить связь со своей аудиторией. И это, скорее всего, будет сделано через, ВК-группу и YouTube. Ну вот, и уточнить у них ту информацию, которую они бы хотели передать для разработчиков CCP. Соответственно, я постараюсь эти вещи отфильтровать в своей голове, то есть с своей точки зрения, и выбрать самые актуальные проблемы, идеи и предложения, соответственно, смешав их вместе со своими.
Currently, I have lots of followers on YouTube, and I plan to basically try and form my basically talk to my community that's mostly going to be on VK, and collect collect requests from them through that channel, and here and basically filter them out through from my understanding of the game, like basically from my opinion, and filter it out basically to the developers. While I'm streaming, I'm also not a developer, so like I often get asked questions that I cannot answer, but I try to simplify and basically put like the information into like through the prism and trying to basically explain it in a in a short manner as a summary to my community.
Okay, cool. I mean, as far as I can understood, I loved everything I hear. Once again, I think it's very courageous of Robert to really be applying for the CSM and trying his best to contribute to EVE Online and the EVE Online community. I know we're a little bit over time, but again, I think this is a very unique circumstance, and I would still like to hear if there is any message or anything that Robert would like to share with the community before we're gonna let him go.
Дополнительно аплодирует тому, что ты поступаешь в CSM, а также пришел на наш канал CCP, чтобы встретиться с нами и со зрителями и рассказать о себе. Последний вопрос, так как у нас закончилось время и надо уже готовиться к следующему кандидату. А есть ли у тебя какие-нибудь последние слова или пожелания, которые ты хочешь, с которыми ты хочешь обратиться к сообществу?
Я бы обратился не только к сообществу, но и к самим разработчикам игры, если уж они нас, наверное, смотрят. То есть, соответственно, ко всем CSM, которые баллотируются и сейчас уже избранные. Это, наверное, так сказать, предложение. То есть, если уж мне не получится пройти в CSM, то чтобы предложили такую идею для работы именно над детализацией игры. Очень хочется, чтобы мир EVE Online был красивый, насыщенный и наполненный абсолютно всеми явлениями, которые могут встречаться в реальном космосе. Самое главное, теми явлениями, которые уже изучены и подтверждены. Это может быть сингулярность, также нейтронные звезды, столкновение звезд, взрыв Солнца в сверхновую и так далее. Очень много всего, чего в космической MMORPG не реализовано, а так хотелось это увидеть. И таких людей не только я один, их очень много приходит в игру только посмотреть и исследовать. Не все идут за PvP и не все гонятся за производством. Это бы помогло CCP увеличить свой охват аудитории и привлечь новых игроков.
Спасибо. I would like to address not only the community, but also the developers and the current CSM and the other CSM candidates. And if anything, to basically ask them if I don't manage to get into CSM, but like to ask here and now for CCP to get more detailization into the game. And by that, I mean like making the game have like the sci-fi details, having the supernova, have suns explode, have black holes that are actual black holes, and pulsars and other things like in real world. And it's not just my opinion. There's many others who would like the game to be as more sci-fi detailed as the real world. And oh yeah, and I hope that this turn will basically allow CCP to get even more audience that like enjoys this sort of thing. Not everybody enjoys PvP and industry, but like also they enjoy this having a detailization of like and having real life sci-fi stuff in the game.
All right. I mean, you don't need to sell me on enriching our universe. I think we're always gonna say yes to that. So, absolutely, Robert, thank you very much for coming up and talking to us today. CCP Alpha, thanks a million, mate, for your translator services for today. It was lovely chatting to you both. Robert, I would like to wish you good luck with your campaign. And for everybody watching us on Twitch and Facebook, guys, we're gonna have a quick transition right now, and we're gonna move into the next candidate, Kenneth Feld, who is the current CSM. If you want to get more information about Robert, you can check his CSM campaign thread. CCP Swift definitely shared it on chat already there, so definitely take a look and give him a high five for coming and talking to us. Don't go anywhere, we're gonna be right back. One. Hello, welcome back everybody. Thank you very much for waiting. We are back with another wonderful candidate, Kenneth Feld, the current CSM16 member. Kenneth, how are you doing, mate?
I'm doing pretty good there, CCP Dopamine. It's been a crazy day for me. I just got off an airplane, but I'm here and ready to go.
That's the spirit, man. That's the spirit. Right on. I mean, I would suggest that we jump right into it. Kenneth, we give you the floor. You're the current CSM. You're trying to get re-elected for yet another term. For those people who might not be familiar, or those people who haven't seen you coming up on all of the different shows in the past months and so, can you introduce yourself? Can you tell us what's your forte? What are you trying to achieve with on the CSM, and maybe how have you been already helping CCP during the CSM15 term so far?
Absolutely. I had considered running several times before, and due to various factors, I didn't. When I heard that industry was kind of starting to be touched through the grapevine, I decided to run last year, and it just turns out that industry was being touched. I spent a lot of time working with both CCP, the devs, and CSM15 as a group. I mean, we had a lot of private discussions about what was going on and how things were being crafted in the proposals that we were seeing to lead us down to the industry update that dropped a couple months ago. You know, not all of it is roses and champagne, but I think in the end, it will give a lot more meaning to people when they see the stuff that's coming next. And I really think that's why my reelection is pretty important, because what's coming next is the next domino, and there's more after that. And we had a 2-hour meeting, Thursday, yesterday? What's today, Friday? Yeah, so yesterday. Sorry, it's been a long couple days. And, you know, we set the framework for the next domino. Now, there's still some fine details to work out. You know, it's going to be a little while before it shows up, but I really think having someone available that can help people see the scale of things. When Creus came out in 2014, CCP Grayscale, or Grayskull, whatever, I forget his name, but he thought a large industrialist was someone with an alt on one account and an alt on a second account and like 20 slots. That was his idea of a large industrialist. He had no idea how industry scaled, both in logistics and the manufacturing side of it. And I really think that having that perspective helps craft it so that the big guys just don't decimate the little guys. And this last patch, for as much as a lot of the big guys didn't like it, because I mean, it's given me headaches now, no doubt, it's given everyone headaches, but there's a lot of smaller entities that are popping up now that benefited from this greatly. And I know that's hard for people to understand, that some dude from PL who's a large null block guy would actually advocate for something to help the little guy. But if it helps the little guy, it helps us in the long run, because I have to cultivate little guys in PL. I mean, that's my whole job, right? Is to train your replacement. Yeah, and look, CCP Swift's up there smiling, because that's exactly what he did with Headliner. And it's the same way. I have to train my replacement. And if it is just straight off into the deep end, you have a hard time doing that. So we need to make this more of a progression, easier to get into at the low end, but make a nice gradual slope to the big end rather than the cliff. And I really think that's going to apply to the next, what I would say, 2 or 3 things that I see kind of coming down the pipe, and we need to make sure that that continues.
All right, so very well said. So just to sum up, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but very much a industry-focused candidate, and going for re-election to act as a stabilizing force in the changes that are being continually rolled out for resource redistribution. Did I get that right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, yes, I'm in PL. Yes, I'm a null block, but yeah, you wouldn't want me to FC very much. But if you need, you know, 250 munins in 3 days, I'm your guy. So I defer on a lot of that other stuff, just simply because I don't, it's just not me, right? But a lot of the other guys who are FCs have deferred to me on a lot of the industry stuff, or some of our private CSM meetings. I've kind of interpreted, you know, broke it down. This is what this means. This is what this means. This will affect this in this manner. This is what the pricing is going to end up being, that kind of stuff. And we had a lot of our own internal meetings about that. And although when it came out, I deferred about talking about price, it is something that the CSM discussed and understood what the ultimate goal of the developers were, because we have to understand that. But it's going to take months for all this. And about the time, the way that I see it, about the time that everything starts to settle out, that's when the next one's going to drop. And it's, everything's going to go topsy-turvy again. And then about the time that settles out, the next one goes. It's just going to be that way until all of the ecosystem stuff is done. And like you said, having someone who's there from the beginning to the end, familiar with the developers, familiar with what's going on, is desperately needed for sure. And that's the main reason I'm going for re-election for sure.
I can see a lot of praises and support for you, Kenneth, in Twitch chat. It seems you got a lot of fans over here. What I would be interested maybe to hear from you, Kenneth, is how do you plan and how have you been interacting with the player base and the community? As you said, there is a lot going on within the ecosystem. We're really having a lot of changes that went live. There are a lot of changes being in the works, and there is a lot of changes that will be coming after those. How do you plan to really make sure you can keep track of everything that the community is calling for, and making sure you address any concerns and kind of feed them back to the developers of EVE Online?
The main way that I do it, the CSM Discord chat and Talking in Stations chat, as well as, I forget the third one. Those are the two main ones though. And I'm available on Discord pretty much 24/7, either by computer or phone. I'll answer, or I'll pretty much talk to anybody. The biggest thing is if you come to me with bug reports, or hey, this is the first thing I'm going to ask you for is a bug report number, because that's the easiest way to get stuff like that fixed. If you have suggestions, I will talk to you a little bit and kind of flesh it out. If it's just I want this, that's great, but it's a lot more input than that. If you ask a dev, hey, I just want to do this, they're going to ask you for a decent plan. So that's all I ask. If you have some concerns or something changed, it needs to be fleshed out a little bit more than, hey, I just want fighters to do 7,000 meters a second or whatever. There's got to be a little more to it than that. But I am available. Anyone, feel free to. I don't check my in-game email a whole lot, so if you email me there, I'll get back to you, but it may not be very prompt, but I am prompt on Discord. For PL, I write a monthly or bi-monthly little blurb that, stuff that's kind of going on. Obviously, 85% of what we do is NDA, so I can't really say much. I was going to write the same type thing, only in a blog format, but it really turned out to you can't say a whole lot. So I didn't end up doing that, especially with all the industry stuff. And it took, we got the original plan in October, and it didn't come out till April. And I spent hundreds of hours going over numbers and, the different mineral ratios of how the ships were going to be built, how much percentage of the ship is now minerals versus other items, and all that kind of stuff, just to have a second set of eyes on what the developers were trying to do. Not that I didn't trust their numbers, it's just that the way that they look at things may be different than the way the player base looks at things. So I wanted to look at it through my eyes, through the player's eyes, and how we go about things, because it's completely different. Most of the developers are all numbers driven. They look at statistics and some graph that says this is how much isogen gets used a day, and this is how much gets mined. And that's all those are the only two numbers that kind of, they just look at that delta. Whereas how we use it and how it gets left over and that kind of stuff, it's just the way that things are looked at is through two different sets of glasses. And I made sure to look at all those changes through a set of glasses attached to a player, and then try to work with the CSM and the developers to shape what was coming out to better suit the way the players used it.
Awesome.
All right, well, that sounds great. Providing context to the metrics is one of the many things that we value the CSM for. So thanks for explaining that. Thanks for chatting with us. And are you going to be appearing on any other talk shows or anything in the near future that people could be on the lookout for?
Well, up until my boss called me a little bit ago, I would say yes. I'm on talking stations here and there. I think I was going to be interviewed by Ashtarothi this week, but that might happen this weekend now. I'm not really sure. I'll probably be on the Meta show at least once or twice more, give Mittens hell, and go on with life.
All right, mate. Kenneth, thanks a lot for taking the time from your extremely busy schedule to have a chat and as well sharing with our players what are you about. I would like to wish you luck in your campaign. Guys, you've heard it. You know what's gonna happen if you vote for Kenneth, so decision is all yours. Right now, we're moving to another candidate. It's gonna be DutchGunner, so don't go anywhere. In a couple of minutes, we're gonna be right back. So just sit tight.
Thank you.
Here we go. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you very much for your patience. We are here with yet another stellar candidate, DutchGunner. Dutch, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. It's the weekend and running for CSM another year, so I'm great.
Yes, I remember we had a pleasure to talk during those interviews last year. Um, I'm happy to see that you're trying once again, coming up and talking with the community. But hey, there's always so many new players joining EVE Online. I'm pretty sure there will be some people that maybe not entirely familiar with who you are and what you do and where are your strengths. So if you could do me the honors and introduce yourself, talk a little bit about, your expertise. Why are you running for the CSM? What are you trying to achieve? You got 10 minutes. I'm gonna start the timer and the floor is all yours.
Okay, well, first of all, hello everybody. My character name is DutchGunner. I've been playing since 2003, and for the last couple of years, I've been heavily involved with ARC, the Arctic Research Consortium. Ran a lot of public fleets during chapters 1 and 2 of the Triglavian invasions. Chapter 3 wasn't really a fit with what we did, but I do have bragging rights, quote unquote, for being DFC for the first fleet that killed the weather effect structure in Rarevos. And we did it so quickly, people that had cloaked eyes on grid didn't see it happen and thought it was the NPCs. But in chapter 3, I led public fleets going into the minor victory systems, trying to figure out the mechanics, relaying it to senior FCs in EDI to help them with their push. And after Poshfen, I ran public fleets for several months, taking people into Poshfen, showing them the sites, and taking the fight to the drifters. And I even wrote a manual on how to effectively dodge the drifter doomsdays, and that it doesn't take billions of ISK or very special implants to get it done. But at the same time, my main focus with the Arctic Research Consortium is looking at lore content, trying to explore how things are working, what's happening, and trying to provide alternatives to just combat fighting or PvE, where it's just like, hey, we don't know what this is. Let's go out there and try to figure out what's happening, and if it's interesting, or if we have a good case of, hey, this is what we think. Like, we tend to publish in-character pieces that also work out of game, and there's a bit of a treasure trove with all things lore related or how certain things are likely to go. And if the situation allows for it, I'm also looking for opportunities to have player-run roleplay events. As for my personal history, I started playing in 2003. Never really won EVE, some periods of less activity, but over those years, I've done pretty much everything in the game except for scamming, because that's one line I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to cross that one. Lived in HiSec, NullSec, Wormhole Space. Poshfen I didn't get to settle for obvious reasons. But that's part of what my strength is. Like, I've tried so many different things that, sure, I might not be up to date with the latest meta or the latest mechanics, but if somebody raises an issue or explains it, I'll quickly be up to speed. It's like, okay, I gotcha. This is what you're looking at. And if people come with suggestions like, hey, I want to see this change or I want to see that fixed, I can ask deeper, like, okay, what's the reason? Is it just because it's something you don't like, or do you want to see a certain result? And are there other ways that are probably going to be better for the game overall? But my main expertise at the moment really lies with HiSec and the challenging PvE. If you're to compare me to different candidates, you could say where Mike Azariah looks at the new people who just get started, I'm there to help people who've been playing for a little while or for a long time and just aren't interested in low-sec, null-sec, or wormhole life, but they are looking for interesting group things to do.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. This is my second year of running. Last year I ran for the first time and I made it to position 17 out of 40 candidates. Had some talks, had some feedbacks, and it seemed that a lot of people like what I stood for, which is like, hey, the main focus should also be that whatever content is coming up, it's accessible and it's not locked behind either be the biggest group or have the most ISK to throw the most expensive things at it and then dominate that specific piece of content. And if I get elected to the CSM, I've done my research. I know what it is about. That's why my post is different from others. I don't have a list of items I want to push for because I'm not familiar with what has been in the pipeline, what is currently in the pipeline, and I don't want to make any promises that I can't deliver upon because whatever I would like to see doesn't fit in the current roadmap.
All right, and for those unfamiliar, you mentioned it earlier, but the Arataka Research Consortium, the group that the player group that you're a member of, they really do focus on sort of solving the unknown, which is I find to be really really interesting and cool, especially when it comes to the new events or new mechanics that come out. You guys always seem to be at the forefront um, of of those types of or rather of that type of information.
Yeah, and it's always a challenge when something new comes up, like, hey, what can we figure out? And it's a public community. So if people are interested, they can just join the ARC Discord, get involved, have pop suggestions. And if other people do fantastic work, we do give them credit and link them, like what Electus Matari did with the wormhole mechanics in and out of Poshfin. They made a manual explaining it, and we regularly refer to people to like, hey, if you want to know more, this is where you want to go with regard to the wormholes. So we're not a group that tries to hog all the content. We're there to try and open it up for other people and raise interest. Like, hey, this is also things you can do.
So HiSec is known for being, obviously it's very large and there's many many groups involved, and you know, unlike other areas of space, there are no like very large power blocks within HiSec. So if elected, how would you plan to communicate to the people that voted for you and other people in the HiSec community that might not be aware of either of yourself or of the CSM in general?
Okay, well, I do plan to reach out to uh, bigger streamers like INN with a show, with Talking in Station, any other streamers that might be interested and seem to have a crowd to just make a regular appearance to talk about things. I'll put more information on it on my character bio. So if people look what's happening, they see more with the link. And I'll also set up a separate Discord where people can provide ideas and where I could provide a list like, hey, this is input I've had so far, either through PMs on Discord, on that separate Discord, or any in-game emails. So everybody can just see like, hey, this is what is up, this is what is known. And by having regular shows, if the shows would have me, also provide a bit more background on, hey, this is what it means to be on the CSM, like this is a stage. And of course, before releasing anything or sharing anything, first double check that it's not NDA, but to at least lift a bit more of the veil on what's happening with the CSM, like what Brisc Rubal and Mike Azariah has been working hard for. And considering that Brisc is now running for his third term, if he does get elected, he can't run next year. So I'll definitely take notes on how he and others have been handling it to be able to continue that for the next year. When if they made their third term, they're not allowed to run for a year. Continuity is important.
Yeah, that's right. There's definitely a lot of knowledge that stays there, but I think bringing the freshness and the different perspective as well, it's equally important to make sure we never really grow any specific blind sides into the CSM and also the CCP. But that has been a very comprehensive kind of introduction for yourself. I think you've really told us everything we kind of really wanted to know and hit all of those little points that we're trying to kind of take out from all of the candidates out there. Is there anything else in particular that you would like to share with our viewers right now and with EVE Online player community? Any like last, call to action why they should be voting for you or putting you high in their ballots?
Yeah, it's I've done my background, I've checks, I've done my research. I know I'll be a good fit for CSM. Just give me the opportunity to show it to you. And there isn't a single way to play EVE, so let's make it a great experience together.
All right, I can stay behind that for sure. Are you planning to appear in any upcoming shows? Is there anywhere that people can maybe see you a little bit more and talk to you further before they need to make up their minds?
Currently, I've already had interviews with Azariah, which has the video up on YouTube, and I have a link on that in my CSM thread. I've been on a interview with Respect, Honor, Passion, but there isn't a video of that, so unfortunately I can't link that one. I've been on Push to Talk, and I've also been interviewed by DTM135, but he hasn't put that video up yet. And I'll reappear on his CSM Royale this Sunday. At least I'll appear on his CSM Royale this Sunday. Other than that, my contact details for Discord are on my CSM posts. You can always reach out in-game. And other than that, I currently don't have any interviews or appearances planned. But if people would like to know more, reach out to me and I'll do my best to make it work and make it happen.
That sounds great, and I'm definitely looking forward to checking you out on Sunday on DTM CSM Royale. Those were always a lot of fun. Dutch, thanks a lot, mate, for sitting down with us, taking the time of your day. It was a pleasure hosting you over here. We are gonna be moving to our another candidate, the man himself, Rixx Javix. Guys, don't go anywhere. We do have a video, so we're gonna start with that and then bring you Rixx for a little bit of a chatter about what he plans to do in the CSM. Don't go anywhere. We're gonna be right back.
If Rixx could make content in low-sec, then just imagine what he could do on the CSM.
As a fake internet doctor, I can confidently say that 9 out of 10 doctors recommend Rixx Javix for CSM.
6 years ago, EVE founder Nash Cadaver and Rixx put a long-standing pirate grudge behind them. Since then, Rixx has designed us at least half a dozen brand logos, as well as lots of artwork that's given us a really professional-looking edge. Rixx and his alliance have been brawling the arena for as long as I can remember, and I know that if viewers voted onto CSM, he would fight for more CCP-run tournament content.
A vote for Rixx will make you a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus. Just like me.
Blah. I'm Caprice, and Rixx Javix is my favorite artist in the Citadel.
I don't care how you do it, just keep generating kill meals.
Vote Rixx Javix, so that you too can get buttered over 400 times, just like me.
I once saw Rixx Javix kill a day-old newbie, and then laugh about it in Fleet Chat. Rixx Javix for CSM.
The Space Princess decrees that you should vote for Rixx Javix.
When I joined Stay Frosty, all I had was 10,000 ISK and an IBIS to my name. Rixx gave me a free Tristan, and now I have 3 ratting supercarriers. Thanks, Rixx Javix.
Make LowSec great again. Vote for Rixx Javix for CSM16.
I never killed anyone innocent in my entire career. Then I met Rixx Javix, and now I'm a pirate. Vote Rixx for CSM.
I'm Explorer Kadiase, and as a player I feel our vote for the CSM matters. There are a lot of great candidates this year, and there's one candidate that I'll be voting for without hesitation, Rixx Javix. As a character, he may be a low-life, scruffy-looking pirate scum, but as a player there's no one I know that's more passionate about this game. Rixx Javix will be at the top of my ballot. I ask that you will consider him for yours.
My name is Rixx Javix, and I'm asking for your support. Let's work together to make Eve great again.
Go.
Hey. Welcome back, everyone. I am CCP Swift, joined by CCP Dopamin, here with the Pirate Lord himself, Rixx Javix. You just watched his intro video, or his rather campaign video. Rixx, how are you?
I'm doing great, Swift. Thank you very much. See, I almost stumbled there, but I got it right. So thanks for having me on. Yep, thanks for having me on today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you are obviously an infamous pirate, an infamous player in EVE Online with Stay Frosty and A Band Apart. But just in case there are people who have, lived under a rock, or maybe they've only been on the receiving end of your bullets and don't know what your campaign thread is all about, why don't you give us a little bit of an introduction to Rixx Javix, the CSM16 candidate?
Sure, yeah, thank you. And I've been a player since 2008. I've been almost 13 years now. I started playing exactly when EVE was available on the Macintosh. So that's how I know when I started playing. It was, I think, the day after that. So that's how I've been a -10 pirate now for a little over a decade. 8 years ago, I started a corporation called Stay Frosty and an alliance called A Band Apart. So started a blog called Evaganda 11 years ago. Been involved in the community, holding public events. As a matter of fact, back on March the 6th, I hosted an FFA in our home system, which we had built, I think it was close to 8,000 frigates, fully fit, and we handed those out, and the results were about 12,000, a little over 12,000 ships exploded, and not just frigates, but people brought a Revelation. I flew a Naglfar that got blown up by lots of little frigates. We had carriers and other things. So Fozzie was nice enough to confirm that was the record for the most ships ever to be exploded in LowSec for a single day. So that was pretty awesome. People might know me for doing logos and art. I do a lot of art for the community. I've designed a little over 1,200 Alliance logos. The odds are, if you're somewhere on a blog or a Twitch stream or a podcast or something, that the logo they're using is probably done by me. So I'm pretty proud of that. That honestly, it's a little self-serving because it keeps me from doing ratting and things like that. So I do the logos for ISK. So I haven't had to rat or do any PvE for about 10 years now. So one of the reasons why I'm running for CSM is, is because of that, because I've been involved with the community for so long, because I've been writing and doing art and going to player meets all over the world. Back in the Incarna days, I started doing hats on Twitter accounts in protest for for Incarna. When one of the art directors at CCP forgot to turn the frills on the Vagabond when they redid the ships, we started a protest in Eve. Myself and Mark Sakaris. We had Rome's. We blew up the statue in Jita. What it turned out is kind of a funny story because it turned out that he had just forgotten to turn them on. But so we got the frills back on the Vagabond. I guess I'm a little well known for my stance against warp core stabilizers and a decade-long advocacy I've been doing against those, which is mostly in good spirit. Did a lot of memes and fake ads and things for that over the years. It was a kind of cool story, which I'll share, is that the day of the announcement that warp core stabs had been dealt with last week, I got a DM from Hilmar, and he said, hey, congratulations on the warp core stabs. You're making fun of them and doing all that stuff for years is a big reason why we did it. And I said, well, that's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Would you mind providing a quote? And he's like, well, I'll have to run it through PR. So a day later, he's like, well, this is the official quote from PR. So I thought that was kind of cool. I got an official quote from Hilmar on my warp core stabs. So I've stood up for things over the years, done a lot of that kind of thing, and I've been involved in the B4R community, broadcast for reps, since the early days. I was in the Coffee Rocks video that CCP produced. So I mean, it just seemed like a natural extension. My personal life has gotten to the point where my wife and I are both working from home now. Our children are grown or getting there. We're almost out of the house. So this was the first year that I looked over at her and I said, what do you think about running for CSM this year? And she said, I think it'd be a great idea. So here I am, running for CSM, asking everyone for their support. And I guess that's my background. So I'll leave it at that. I'm halfway through so now we can talk about what I want to accomplish and things, I guess. Sorry.
Yeah, definitely,
Rixx. I'm running the meeting.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening here, Rixx. This time is for you. We're just, goofy heads smiling and saying different things from time to time. But I think this is a great introduction. It really comes across as you're a very community-oriented person. And as you said, you've been around the block for so long that it's very difficult not to kind of stumble upon your name or maybe see something that your talented hands have put the creative juices into in terms of logos or creations and whatnot. But I think it would be also important to tell everybody watching us right now and everybody who's going to be watching those videos on YouTube later on why they should consider putting you, on the high position on their ballot. What are you going to bring into the EVE Online community and maybe how you're going to interact with them?
Well, sure. I mean, first of all, I would appreciate your vote and your support, and for various reasons. And I think, first of all, that I am probably one of the easiest people to get a hold of. I have a blog. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Discord, and I, talk to players every single day. Yesterday, I probably had 50 or 60 different conversations going at the same time, talking about different subjects. Stay Frosty is pretty notorious for being -10 pirates and solo small gang experts. But one of the things that we do, which you might not be familiar with, is when we blow people up. Well, I'll give you an example. This morning, we killed a procurer in a mining belt. And not only did I give the guy 5 million ISK to replace the procurer, but we had a nice chat for about 20 minutes talking about how to use an overview, how to descan, how to be aligned, so that he wouldn't get caught again. And yesterday we did the same thing with a Vexer that was ratting in our home system. So it's about that. It's also about the fact that I believe that LowSec is a very important part of space. I've been living there for over a decade. I've been a -10 pirate for 10 years, and I believe that faction warfare desperately needs some love and attention. And that the potential for it is great. And I think that we are in a position right now where the technology, where the things that CCP is doing, with Podchavan, with the AI and NPCs, would really help faction warfare grow and help low-sec grow. I think it's an important step in the pathway of players between high-sec and null. I also believe that it's a great place to live and make your livelihood, like myself. And I think that I can be the voice to help have that happen. And I think my real-life experience, excuse me, being a CEO, having served on board of directors for charities and for small businesses over the years, I think that I bring a lot of experience to the table that maybe a lot of other players don't. And working with groups, getting everybody together, working towards a common goal, that's something that I'm particularly experienced with. And I think that would serve the community and the game as we go into the 20th anniversary here in a few years. So I think that that's why I'm asking for people to vote for me.
All right, but very well put. We don't get
you.
to see that many low-sec guys on the CSM, so it'd be a very interesting thing. On that note, we just have a couple minutes left. I do have a question that might be well suited for you since you've been around the EVE block for some time. The CSM is entering its 16th term. It's a very storied institution within EVE. Do you have like a candidate that you've seen go through the halls that you, I don't want to say looked up to, but you like really appreciated the work they did, that you kind of want to emulate potentially in your CSM run?
Well, yes, there's quite a few. I've actually been involved with other people's candidacies before. But Mike Azariah is a good friend of mine. Mike showed up on my very first public event back in 2009. We did a death race through Providence, and Mike showed up with a Hulk full of strippers, and we've been friends ever since. I actually went to Vancouver 2 years ago at the end of a EVE cruise just to visit Mike, and he showed us around the city. So we're good friends. Mike's a great guy, and if I could be, I mean, he's a high secker, so but yeah, if I could be if I could be half the candidate that Mike Azariah is, then I'd be happy. So yes, thanks guys, I appreciate the time, and vote Rixx for CSM, please. Thank you.
No,
All right,
you.
well, thank you very much, Rixx.
Thanks guys, appreciate it.
Yeah, not a single problem. Rixx, thanks a lot for coming up. It's always great to see you and talk to you, buddy.
Yeah, you too, man.
Right now, we just gonna keep the ball rolling. We have plenty of more candidates to talk to today. Next, we have Dr. Spot, who also prepared a video. So guys, let's just put you in a little transition here. We're gonna play a video, and then we're gonna bring the next gentleman for a little conversation. Don't go anywhere, but if you want to grab a drink, now is the time to do it. But you need to be back here in a couple of minutes, because we're not going to be waiting for anybody. All right. 1. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video from Dr. Spot. Dr. Spot, hello. How are you, my friend?
I'm getting on. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. It's Friday evening. We're sitting here talking about spaceships. Can it get any better than that?
Not really. I've got a garden to mow, but I thought I'd do this instead.
Yeah, I think that's gonna work. That's gonna work. Let's keep it this way. But Spot, you know the drill. This is going to be 10 minutes. That is entirely for you. We would love to hear a little bit more about yourself. Why are you running for the CSM? And obviously for those people who might not be entirely familiar, let's just introduce yourself. Tell me what are your strengths and what can we expect from you should you get elected for the CSM. I'm gonna start our timer so you can just get on with it anytime.
So I'll start with why I decided to run for CSM, and one of the first points I make in my forum post is that there's a hole in the CSM and there's a hole in the actual candidates itself. Nobody for several years has almost even mentioned the third-party development side of things, the tooling and the environment outside of the game, outside of the client. That whole stuff has just been largely forgotten. And I'll be honest, I used to be basically a one-issue voter, so Stephen Hookham was always number one on my ballot every single year without fail. And so I'm just trying to fill that hole. I don't think I can ever be anywhere near as good as Steve and his glorious beard, but I can at least try. So my background is I've done, when it comes to like the in-client traditional game stuff, I've done a little bit of everything. You know, I've lived in Null, I've lived in wormholes, not elite PvP wormholes, but there were holes that were wormy. It counts. I lived in low sec briefly, high sec. Yeah, it's all good. These days, I spend most of my time running a small-ish, actually we've got big now, alliance out in high sec, where we do a lot of moon mining and we run out into low sec and get blown up and go back home because we're all dead. So I've got like a little bit of a generalist when it comes to the game itself, but my passion has always been creating and working with and looking at all the crazy tools that are out there. Because the first sort of screen in that video that I made, that was just tabbing through probably about 40% of the current active applications, and there was something like 60 different tools that I could find in literally a 5-minute Google search. They're all active. They all have hundreds, if not thousands, of users. And there's not been anybody really that pushed that as their main forte, as their main representation, and trying to keep that side of things alive. Because anybody that's fiddled with that side of things will know that ESI, the name of the API that powers all of this, has had a few issues in the past 2 years. And while some of them are understandable, like some of the main ones is the developers behind. So it used to be there was 1 or 2 developers that sort of really took ESI and made it their baby. And they've either moved on or been moved around or whatever else. And that's understandable. But we need to find... basically, my idealistic goal is to sneak into the CCP offices and whisper into the ears of various different developers and convince them that ESI is the best thing ever, and you really need to do all the work on it ever, because there's so much more that it can do. And I'm not talking like wild stuff like you can track all the baddies. I'm talking stuff like, and this is a suggestion I got given recently, which I quite like, is bring the activity tracker that's in the game and expose that on ESI. So you can do this. Just a few examples of the immediate things that would be possible from that is stuff like you'd be able to track how much somebody's exploring, which is something we've never been able to pull statistics on before. You'd be able to like give your newbies rewards because they've traveled to so many systems. So you can build your own, say, internal corporation or alliance achievements or reward system on top of the existing activity tracker in the game, for example. But there's millions of things that you could always come up with and add. But the core thing with the ESI is the fact it's been left a bit fallow. It's been abandoned a little bit. It's been a little bit. Some of the endpoints are dead. A lot of tickets just don't get resolved or go quiet, and it's a bit of a shame because it's something that I say it's so important. Because can you imagine how much everyone would lose their minds if Ezekiel suddenly died tomorrow because the API just gave up? So we need to put more time into it to ensure that it's going to save reliably. And yeah, for some reason people are going crazy about nullsec in the comments. I don't live there. I don't get involved in the politics. I don't care about goons. I don't care about Pappy. I don't care about whatever. Insert your group here. I just I want ESI to be better, but I also want, as I said, I've covered in the video. My things are the market. The market is basically the same as it was in 2003 when the game came out, and it, not that it's necessarily broken, but it could definitely get better. The contracts could be so much more interesting. Could you imagine if we simply had contracts that had escrow, so that a third party can allow a contract to complete? It sounds like a really simple thing, but that suddenly creates loans, shorts, futures, share trading, like all of these crazy financial instruments that especially the market nerds have been begging for years. That simple ability of having contracts that can be passed or failed by a third party opens up a huge wide world. And that's the kind of thing I want to chase. It's just like these minor, well, I'm not going to say it's minor, because to change the contract system, again, it's something that's been there since like 2003, 2004. It ain't going to be easy. But it's something simple that I really want to I want to chase the simple things, that the sort of low obvious impact, but the overall impact of, like I said, changing the contracts. Now you've got shorts and futures, which is something that Hilmar has talked about. And this was a bit of a funny contention point with a couple of friends, that Hilmar talked about shorting on the Eve market, which is actually not possible. But with the magical contract idea, it would be. So I'm trying to think what else I can really bring up. My personal background is I'm a software developer, as are about 70% of Eve players from what I've seen. So I can tell you all day about how my day job is working with things like ESI all day, every day, poking it, building it, making tools based off it. So that's the majority of my background. Beyond that, I am the executor of an alliance that lives in HiSec. So again, we're not involved in null politics, so please stop asking me about null stuff. I'm not an elite PvPer. I started doing solo PvP on stream just to see what it was like, and I got dunked every time. And
that's exactly how
I do
it's
a bit of industry. Yeah, exactly. I keep getting killed by this. I don't know if he's watching, but there's another streamer that recently started playing the game, and he keeps killing me in his damn Tristan. it's getting on my nerves. I need to get a better fit to hunt him down.
That's
I
definitely.
think I actually watched that. I think I watched that, and he was like day 5 of EVE Online.
Yeah, Lord Cal, I think his name was, or something like that. Seems like a good dude. Well, he's too good for me, apparently.
That sounds like we need some kind of a streamer wars to happen in EVE Online. But Spot, yeah, I mean that sounds great. I think it's important to, as you said, give a voice to, Easy and make sure that the API works and is continuously being improved, because there is just so many third-party developers and tools out there that are enriching people's experience with the EVE Online, and we saw that as well through the EVE Online partnership program. We had so many different tools and applications that really garner thousands of users on a monthly basis. It's incredible to see what the community has created so far, and I think the untapped potential is there for us to explore as well.
Yeah, one of the things that keeps coming up in the chat and whatnot is like, what's your opinion on null and what's your opinion on wormholes? And again, I know this is kind of being overly self-derogatory, but I'm not an expert on those areas. But I would hope that that's a credit that I'm willing to admit that. So if somebody gives me a harebrained idea, I'm going to run it by someone else first to make sure that you didn't tell me just to, I don't know, delete wormholes and turn them inside out, and also make solve only work on a Tuesday. But on the other side of things, I'm a massive. I'm one of those people that sits there and stares at hobo leaks and hits F5 all day, every day, and then sits there with a tinfoil hat trying to divine what the hell it means. But yeah, I think that's a decent summary. And I only play half the game now. I've played the whole game in the past. I've moved past needing to play that part.
To be fair, I don't think anyone really plays the whole game. Everyone plays their own little version.
Exactly.
You mentioned that you were active on talking in stations. Are there any upcoming talks that you're going to be giving, either about the CSM or just in general, where people who are interested may be able to like listen?
So the next one, which is going to probably try and reveal some of my more shitposty side, is DTM's CSM Royale. Because otherwise, I've actually, if anyone knows any that haven't, I've not visited, then please do let me know. Because I kind of exhausted a lot of the circuit already. I've been with Asterotti's show, Waldeck did the German show. We also went to RHP on their TeamSpeak, although that was unfortunately not recorded. Between two Keepstars, visited INN and went on Push to Talk, the name, yeah. I'm pretty much always on talking stations at some extent. We do the Euro show, which is it's not massively it's not massively Eve related directly. It's more like game industry and tech industry, but it bleeds into Eve. And because usually talking in stations is about 2 a.m. for me, I don't appear too much on it anymore. But if I'm still awake, I do appear.
All right. Well, it does sound like you have run through a large portion of the community who are doing CSM interviews. But we look forward to seeing you on DTM stream. That's twitch.tv/DTM135. I believe it's this Saturday and Sunday at 2100 Eve.
All right.
But, thank you very much, Dr. Spodumain.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
Thank you.
It was great talking to you. And now we're gonna move into our 6th candidate of the night, Gay Pride Boom. Guys, don't go anywhere. It's gonna be an explosive interview. I can feel it in my bones. We're gonna be right back. One. Hello, welcome everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video. I think the music was fantastic. We have yet another amazing candidate talking to us today here, Gay Pride Boom. How are you doing, my friend? How's your evening going? Or a day for that matter?
Day is going well. There's a lot to clean up out there in HiSec, and the job is never done. And I'm here to mostly represent everybody who's in HiSec, maybe in LowSec, NullSec, but I don't think anyone wants to hear about NullSec. Let's be real. The most elite PvP is found in HiSec.
Right on. So I would say go ahead if you can tell us a little bit more about yourself. You know, exactly, you already started the introduction, but I would love if you could elaborate on this and just expand a bit more so everybody watching us can get to know you a little bit better.
All right. Well, the first step in this is everyone in chat is definitely going to need permits by the end of this. But my career in EVE started very similar to everybody else's. Undocking without a clue in the game what is happening. And eventually I started mining Veldspar, and I found it to be somewhat profitable. And sooner or later, I got blown up by an elite PvPer. And from that death, I learned so much. It was such a simple thing, but being able to die and be, you know, unlimited in this game is something else, and a lot of people don't see the treasure in being able to learn from that type of experience. And EVE should be a place where you embrace that. You embrace being reborn every single day when you get potted or however you die. And if you die autopiloting or you die because you're away from your computer, there's nothing to learn there. And I've been everywhere in EVE. I've been in NullSec with the massive fleets and all the excessive amounts of ships that people will use to point a tiny little barge that is making its way through. And I've been in LowSec where you see all these pirates. But I really think the most exciting part in EVE is HiSec. But there's definitely a lot of work that should be done to make HiSec a more interesting place for all the gankers, the miners, and the baiters out there, and the war deckers too.
All right, so that is you're probably one of the very few candidates running on a high-sec ganking platform. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
yes,
that does seem to be it. What do you think you can bring to the table if you're elected on the CSM, or what conversations can you start within CCP through just about your areas of expertise?
Well, I think EVE Online, it's always had ganking there as a means of sending a message across, or a means of keeping space clean per se. Because if you didn't have ganking at all in the game, there would be a huge surplus of problems, clusters of people living in areas unaffected, untouched. And reasonably so, there are these areas that do exist in the noob systems. But you know, ganking should be brought more as a positive experience, because a majority of the people who are ganked They don't really have an understanding of what has happened to them, and there's a lot in game that can be learned from that experience. Just the basic PvP principles of how to fit up a ship properly, and you know, it should be embraced as a thing, because ganking is part of EVE, and it will always continue to be part of EVE, whether players really want to experience that or not. But I think more can be brought into EVE by teaching players how ganking is possible. Otherwise, a lot of people will think, oh, I've been ganked, this is a trick, this is some black magic going on. But no, it's just the gank. And a lot of the people who are getting ganked, I don't understand what it is that makes them think that they are safe. It seems like there's a huge lack of knowledge in this area of the game, and they will say, oh, go to nullsec, go to lowsec and take your ganking there. Well, it's like, why, when we can teach the lesson in high sec, and people don't want to learn that. So I want to bring ganking to the table as a positive experience. We are not monsters. We're not here to exterminate you. We just want our permits, and we want people to stop botting in this game, because nobody likes bots, especially miners. I know miners do not like bots.
That is true. Do you think there's any acceptable counterplay that should exist that doesn't already, in terms of ganking? Is that something that you would kind of support or lend some guidance to?
Oh yes. Anybody who wants to learn how to gank, they can definitely reach out to me or anybody in Novus Ordo, and we will happily teach people how this mechanic works, why we do it, and the process of how you should reach out to people, because EVE is a community player based game. There's so much social interaction, and a lot of the people that you gank, they don't want anything to do with anybody else. So I say to those people that you're in the wrong neighborhood, because you should be able to reach out and team up and build something for yourself and others. There's no way you're going to make it out there on your own, and if you think that, you're crazy, honestly. And there's so there's a lot of things in chat talking about ships that can't shoot back, but for that argument, I've heard this a lot. Why are you shooting things that can't shoot back? Well, it's not the ship that can't fight back. It's not the ship's fault that it's not fit properly. It's the player that chose that fitting for the ship. And I've seen barges do wild things, and I've used barges to do crazy things. And those of you out there who know how to use the porpoise properly, you can definitely talk to Zanus about that. He'll give you some good instructions on how to fly a porpoise.
I have seen him go a little bit wild and crazy with the porpoise, so I can attest to that existing. One of the other questions I had, it kind of does regard to ganking. Do you think that there's a mechanic that should be added or could be added to offer some sort of counterplay? And do you think that is even necessary?
Counterplay for or to the gankers?
Counterplay for the gankers, rather as a target that does get ganked. What do you think there should be counterplay for them?
I mean, there is already Concord and Faction Police. In a lot of instances, these in itself are enough. You already have the security system, the security of the system, which determines at what point will these things spawn after you aggress. You also have kill rights, as well as if you are -10 status, literally anybody can shoot you at any given time as soon as you are lockable. So that's a pretty big counterplay already against ganking. And we already have the 15-minute timer I'm not sure quite why that would be a thing. Honestly, I've tried to go back looking to seeing if there was ever a change to that, but I don't know. I feel like it could be reduced or, if not removed altogether, because I don't know, more ships to burn. There's never enough things to blow up in Eve. And I would say anybody who undocks, like my representation in the CSM is relevant to you. If you're a station trader and you don't undock your ship, then don't even bother. But if you undock, you got to know that you are a target. And if I see you without a permit, yeah, you can just check my kill board and you'll figure out the rest on your own.
I'm gonna guess that boom is what happens. After,
oh yes.
Okay. Just want to be clear.
And then you'll have to explain yourself afterwards.
Right.
All right. So very unique for having for gankers or pro ganker sentiment. So, but I think you did a really good job, or rather, made a very compelling points for it. So that'll be quite interesting.
Oh yeah, and don't get me wrong. I love miners. I love PvE, but everyone should be able to experience the gank on both sides and understand what's happening. And make love, not war. That's what we're all here about.
I can definitely stand behind that. This is great. Gate Pride BOOOOM. Is there any last words that you would like to share with our viewers and EVE Online community before we're gonna let you go and gank somebody else?
I will just say that you should all get your permits and definitely calm down. There's no reason to be upset. Everything's going to be okay.
Perfect. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're halfway through. Next up, we are going to be sitting down with Brisc Rubal, one of the current CSM members. Gate Pride BOOOOOM, thanks a lot, man, for taking the time talking to us and speaking with EVE Online community. It was wonderful having you here, and we're gonna take 1 minute transition and be right back with yet another crazy hilarious video created specifically for you. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you.
We're only goons warm after all. We're only goons warm after all. Don't put the hate on us.
Hi everybody, it's Brisc Rubal, and I'm running for CSM. Yep, this is my third time. But this time we're going to do it a little differently. Instead of all the memes and the jokes, I'm going to run a serious campaign. We're going to talk about all the things we did on the CSM this year, whether it was finally getting a fix for AFK cloaky camping, fixing the red dot, getting multiple clones in the same citadel, or even the things that we never thought we would ever see in the game, like a low-sec gate disdain. And we're going to talk a little bit about the things that we need to keep doing moving forward. Things like ending scarcity now, fixing faction warfare in low-sec, and of course, generating new content for this 18-year-old game that we all love. I'm confident that working together That's the bat phone. Only one man calls me on the bat phone. Yes, Frank. They did what? Delta Squad got Kenny G? Okay, I can handle this. Screw the good campaigning. It's meme time. Frank, really? A tracksuit? You think the Russians are going to vote for me because I'm wearing a tracksuit? Yeah, it's awesome. Really? Yes, do the squad thing. Come on. No, my knees don't bend like that. I can't do it. Oh, bend over, you big baby. Come on.
Sit. Good sit. Your tree bed.
All right, everybody, it's the Brisc for CSM hot tub stream. If you give me enough bits right now, I'll write your name on my banana. Frank, are you kidding me? I have to fucking do this. Dude, you have no idea how awesome this is. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't care what you think, it's how awesome it is. I'm holding a damn banana in my hand. So you think that was enough? Did we do enough memes? No. You need one more. But it's okay. He knows it.
What's up, everyone? Okay, so listen up. I've got a message from basically the biggest nerd of all time, Brisc. This is for Brisc. I want you guys to vote for Brisc. I'd make a t-shirt or some boondoggle keychains or something, but I don't really have time, and Brisc seems kind of weird. But I guess the weirder he is, the better suited he is for this position on the Council of Stellar Management. So I guess it's for like a massive online video game? Oh, you're all nerds. I thought I was pretty nerdy. Anyways, hope you guys vote for him because he does have some pretty sweet suits, and that'll come in handy when he has to travel to Iceland to like discuss the better management and the betterment of this game, so you guys can have a better experience online with each other virtually or something like that. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he's probably the only man for the job. So just vote for him already, you idiots.
I'm Brisc Rubal, and I approve this message.
One. I don't even know how to get out of this. How to start after this video. Brisc, what's going on, man?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our hot tub stream. We have taken the hot tub meta off of Twitch. We have brought it to CCPTV. I am Brisc Rubal. Hi, everybody. Hi, Dopamine. Hi, Swift. How are you?
Doing great.
You don't mind if I
actually.
drink while we're doing the thing, do you? I hope.
You need to hydrate. I think that's important.
I do need to hydrate. So
absolutely.
Grab yourself a big wave and enjoy our little hot tub stream here on CCPTV. My CSM interview in 2021. And you can listen to the wonderful car noise in the backyard of my house here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, Brisc. I don't even know what to ask you, man. Just you need to give us a rundown on what the hell is going on. What are you trying to achieve here, and explain to all our viewers on Twitch what the hell is going on. All right.
All right. Let me tell you guys what's going on. Here's what's going on. Eve is a game. We're supposed to have fun. I try to have fun every day. My goal on the CSM is to make sure that the game is fun, so you have fun every day. This is my third time running for the CSM. Part of the fun of running for the CSM is doing crazy stuff, like sitting in a suit in a hot tub with a giant banana with people's names on it. I mean, come on. This is part of EVE. It's fun. So I want to tell you guys a little bit about me. Those of you who don't know me, I am Brisc Rubal. I am a member of the initiative. I also fly with Karma Fleet, as you can see behind me. I'm a nullsec PvPer by heart, but I play just about everything there is to do in the game. Unlike a lot of the folks in the null blocks who are running and our current CSM members, I have absolutely no responsibilities whatsoever. I am a line member. I have never wanted to be more than a line member. Now, That's in the game. Outside of the game, obviously I've been serving on the CSM. This is my second term. Hopefully I will get a third term if you guys are willing to run for me. And run for me, vote for me. And I have served for the last year and a half as co-host of the Meta Show, which is the top-rated EVE show on Saturday afternoons. Tomorrow, right this time, 2000 EVE, Saturday. Join us for the Meta Show. We usually get a good number of folks from both sides in nullsec, either whether you're unaligned, whether you're part of nullsec, whether you're other part of space. We try to put on an entertaining show, and that's what I try to do. I'm an entertainer at heart. I want to make you guys happy. I want to make you guys have fun, and one of the reasons why I continue and have been running for the CSM is I love this game. I care a lot about it, and I think I bring a unique skill set of being able to be persuasive, but also funny, but also informative, build relationships, work with CCP over the years, and I've done my best to be the most approachable player advocate in the game. So there's nowhere you guys have not seen me, whether it's in a hot tub, whether it's on the Meta Show every Saturday. I'm in 64 Discords. I'm on every talk show. The most dangerous place in EVE Online is between me and a camera, because I will trackle you to get through there to get to it. So I want to make sure that folks know that if they have ideas, if they have questions, if they have concerns, I am there, and I'm willing and ready to listen to them and to pass on their concerns to the developers. You know, I say this all the time, and it's no offense to you guys at all, but I work for you. I don't work for CCP. So if you're mad at them, tell me. I'll go yell at them for you. If you like what they do, I'm out there giving them attaboys, passing on player concerns. If you want to see more about what I'm focusing on this term, go to briskforcsm.win. It's my website. On there is Brisk's list. It's a list of all the player requests that I've gotten. I keep track of all of them. And as we get them added to the game or we get them addressed in some way, I cross them off the list. And we cross a lot of things off the list. Number one, the red dot. After a year of working, we finally got CCP to add a red dot toggle so veterans could stop complaining about it. We got a ton of quality of life changes done this year, and it's not just me working on this stuff. It's the entire CSM, and I want to give a shout out to all my friends, Merkel Chen and Aminet, Ken Feld, Mike Azariah, and the rest of the CSM that have been working very, very hard to do what we can to represent you guys and pass on good ideas and fight against stuff we think are bad ideas. And that's some of the things that I'm focusing on for next year, includes some things that I have not particularly liked. I want to end scarcity. I'm tired of scarcity. I want to end scarcity now. I want to turn the faucets back on. Let's get everybody making more ISK. Let's get everybody mining more minerals and building new ships. The new industry changes have been very rough on a lot of people. I'd like to see those start to get mitigated by adding new stuff back in. And then finally, I just want to get out there. I want to see a full low-sec faction warfare revamp. I think it's their turn. I think they deserve the attention they have not gotten in a while, and I'll be pushing with whoever is elected, if I'm assuming I'm elected, with whoever is elected representing low-sec or from low-sec to try to get some good ideas in front of the developers to make that happen. And then I'm just pushing for more content, all kinds of content, whether it's new high-sec missions, whether it's fixing Cosmos missions, whether it's creating new stuff and content drivers for FCs to go out and fight, whether it's passive income, any of those types of things I'm going to focus on, because I think the more content in the game, the better it is for folks who want to play it. That's my elevator pitch. How long did I go? I only went 5 minutes. That's not bad.
Hey, you left lots of room for lounging and hydrating and spinning wheels.
Exactly.
So you made a very compelling case for your re-election campaign. Obviously, people, if they didn't know before, they do now. You're currently on CSM15 running for re-election. What is something that, like, you would say distinguishes you from other people who are running for CSM15, who also like really enjoy EVE Online and stuff like that?
I mean, I think there are a couple things that separate me from the other candidates. I think first is my experience. This will be my third term. And what I have found in any kind of elected capacity, whether it's real life, whether it's on EVE, the longer that you serve, it's not that your ideals become stale, but it's that you get to know how and who to talk to about problems. You get to figure out, my joke in my day job is that when people first get elected to Congress, it takes them about 2 years to figure out where the bathrooms are. I know where the bathrooms are. I've been around the block, and I know who to talk to in CCP. I know where to get my concerns addressed. I know how to go through the right channels. I know what you guys are looking for when it comes to presenting ideas to developers. I can be concise. I have built relationships that allow me to have late night conversations when something's broken and find out the next day, hey, we figured it out, we fixed it, here you go. Tell the person that asked you this, we got it done for them. And that's, I think, something that sets me apart. And I think the other thing that sets me apart, and this also sets me apart from my other CSM colleagues, is I try to be the absolute most approachable CSM member in the game. I am everywhere, literally everywhere. I'm on the Evo forums, I'm on Reddit, I'm on Discords, like I said, 64 Discords, I'm on Twitter, I'm on the Facebook group. I answer every single Eve mail I get. No one has ever sent me an email and not gotten a response. So I do my best to make myself available, and I always listen. I'm not always going to agree with everybody, and frankly, not all the time do I get presented with ideas that I think are good or would be beneficial. But I'll listen, and even if I don't agree with it, if I think it has merit, I'm going to go ahead and present it, and I've done that on a number of occasions. So I want everybody that plays the game, whether you're Alpha or Omega, High Sec, Low Sec, Faction Warfare, Null Sec, even if you're on the other side of the war in Null Sec, whether you're a wormholer, whether you just like to run high-sec missions, whether you're a miner, whether you're a ganker, I don't care. I want you to feel comfortable knowing that if you need something from me, I'll be there, I'll listen, and I'll work on your behalf.
All right, very condensed, very to the point. Brisc, I'll let you know, we were pretty sure that we disabled all forms of monetization on this channel, but people figured out a way to donate somehow and started the only hype
we got
train,
a hype train going. All right, well, I got to spin the wheel then.
Ever had.
We got to spin the wheel. All right, Elise, I'm going to let you pick somebody in the chat. Whoever you pick, I'll spin the wheel. They'll get something. Okay, we'll figure it out.
Right.
So go ahead.
You know what? I'm going to pick Asherathi. Asherathi's been doing a crazy good job.
All right, here we go. All right, we're spinning the wheel. We're spinning the wheel. Here we go, round and round. Where does it go? Brisc takes off his tie. You guys wanted it, you got it. I'm going to take my tie off for you live on the stream. If I can get it off because it's super wet. Taking the tie off. Here we go. Tie is coming right off of my head. Tearing it off. Hopefully I don't drop my earbuds into the water. There you go. Tie. Real tie. It's just super wet. There we go. And it's out of here. It's done. Asherathi, you got that. That was for you. If you had gotten something else, I would have done something else. But we got the tie is off. Welcome to the new hot tub meta. I'm hoping that this will be something that gets all of our Eve streamers out there doing something new. Let's stream Eve from a hot tub. Make it happen, people. I trust you. I know you can do it. I know that I can sit here, laid back, my feet up, with my banana, with all the names on it. So far, Brisc for CSM. We're going to make this happen. Is it upside down? It's upside down. We're going to make this happen. The new Eve meta will be hot tub streams. Vote for Brisc June 8th through the 12th, right? Isn't that when the election is?
14th.
14th. 8th through the 14th. We're getting close.
15th.
Please.
I'm sorry.
Everybody,
June 8th
get
to
out
June
there.
15th. From
June 8th
downtown
to June 15th. Everybody get out there. I'm begging you. I want you to do two things for me. One, obviously vote for me. Put me number one on your ballot, unless the state otherwise tells you. And second, please, for the love of God, if you're wormholers, can you get a candidate, like vote your whole ballots and get somebody on so I don't have to be the wormhole CSM anymore? I really don't want to do this anymore. I'm scared. You guys scare me. Can't take it. That's a joke. Seriously, vote your whole ballot. Vote all 10 slots. That is the best way for you to get somebody that you want to see elected onto the CSM. And I urge anybody that's out there that's listening to me, do that. And of course, watch the Meta Show tomorrow, 2000 Eve. And I think my time's up.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Very much, Brisc. That was brilliant. My personal request, I would love to get a picture of the wheel just to see what else we could have won during the show.
Oh, of course. I'll do that. I'll take that.
Definitely tweet it at us. I want to see it. But guys, there you have it. Brisc Rubal, the new hot tub meta 2021. Vote him for the CSM16 and save him from being the wormhole candidate for yet another year. Brisc,
Thanks everybody. I'll see you next time.
And you guys don't go anywhere. I know you might need to cool off after this hot stream. But next up, we got Ron USMC, who's gonna talk to us as well why you should be voting for him. And I'm curious to see if he is going to be in a hot tub as well. Welcome back, everybody. We are welcoming yet another CSM16 candidate, Ron USMC. Ron, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
In shock, but definitely having the time of our lives doing the interviews on this fine evening day, depending where you're tuning in from. But I'm really looking forward to be talking to you right now. So, Ron, without any further ado, if you could be so kind and introduce yourself, talk a little bit more who you are, what you do, what are your strengths, and why the community of EVE Online should be voting for you in the upcoming CSM16 elections.
I mean, first off, I'd like to say I didn't know that this is like the Possum's Paw County Council members sort of vote off or something. Or I love Brisc, but whew, that's exciting. No, I would say that. So my name is Ron USMC. I'm one of the founders and like name only of Test. I've been in Test for 11 years. Mainly in nullsec, and I spent a little time in highsec when nullsec would get too much for me, and I've been where most people would know me from is streaming for the past couple of years. EVE, took a break for EFT, but for the most part, always streaming EVE. And I've really hit EVE hard since the war started, and my aim is to try to give someone that isn't, playing all the time, the kind of, the kind of coverage or the kind of knowledge of being able to be there. As the game has gotten older, a lot of my friends that, we started with 10 years ago, they don't play as much anymore. For really good reasons, like kids and jobs, et cetera, and I just thought that it would be really cool because I knew that this was just going to be a massive war to kind of give everyone that experience of being able to be in the war without actually having to deal with the pings and the nonsense and all of that. So, it's been 10 months though. So, so let's wrap it up, in 3 or 4 months or whatever. But it's been a lot of fun. And one of the kind of interesting things about streaming, is if you stream and if you have like the highest view numbers, generally people that just are new to the category or new to the game will click on your name first, right? And what's interesting about that is it's tons and tons of new players. And anyone who's spent, any time in my stream, it's, every, whatever, 15, 30 minutes or whatever, it's a new player asking a really simple to us question, but it's something that they're confounded by. And I've really, begun to empathize with, new player, the new player experience and, kind of leading them down the path. And I love that new Academy site, by the way. But being able to kind of get them adjusted to, what EVE is like and this and that. And a lot of my sort of points, are around that, right? Which are, I don't want to remove high-sec ganking, but I think it can be tweaked a little. I think security status could matter more, right? I think people that go around ganking maybe can't dock in 0.7, to 1.0 NPC stations. I think there's a lot of like kind of things like that. And, we start to talk about gate camping, which is, I mean, it's really just a blockade on the content, right? And if you kind of want to look at like numbers, just look at the numbers from the last event, the tour event. How many players went to the first, and then how many players went to the last one? And the first kind of stop was like killing like 600, ships an hour because of nothing but gate camps and smart bombing camps and all this silliness. I just think that there's a lot more things that we can do to allow people to go to nullsec, right? Because if you talk to someone in faction warfare, they're going to, or someone that lives in lowsec, they're going to tell you how, empty it is. But, if you look at Zkill and you look at the map, you're going to say, oh, well, that's funny because like 5 jumps up, 180 people have been killed by the same 20 people, right? All day. And those 20 people don't lose anything, right? Because of their super high elite PvP / aligned out / citadel on a gate / et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So I think there's things like that and, camping, kick out stations and these sort of kind of intricacies that, I'm aware of, or I was aware of, but they don't really kind of, get into my play style. Like, I'll run into a camp in lowsec or whatever on a pipe, every now and then. But I think it's key to remember that there's people that are starting the game today and they want to see what faction warfare is, and they get one gate and they die, and that's it, and then so they go to a different gate and they go to a different gate and then they die. So I think there's this, I don't want to, remove anything, but I think there's some tweaking, and I am just absolutely sure that the elite PvP play style of high sec and low sec gankers and gate campers will evolve, right? I mean, they're that good that no matter what rules we throw at them, they're going to be completely fine and they'll figure out another way to do it. So, I think there's a lot of little things like that. And also like the tutorial stations, right? Like, how come, why can't we just take alphas and just say, hey, you cannot disable safety in high sec, period, right? Or in the tutorial stations or the tutorial systems that players are born in, you can't disable your safety, period, right? Like, just simple things like that, I think, to help people that are just starting the game to get off on a little bit better foot. That's all I had. I want to challenge you guys though. I want you guys to hit me hard. Like give me something that give me a good question, man. Don't I can go the Brisc route and say, hey, whatever you need, I got it. Yes. What did you want? Yes. Hey, whoa, you in the back row? I got you. What did you say? You want what? Yes. That's all I gotta say. No, hit me, man.
So one of my favorite questions that actually generally only works with players who have been around for a long time, such as yourself, which is why I'm glad I get to do this, is kind of relating to I guess the history of the CSM. Right, one of my favorite parts about the CSM as a group, and especially during this campaign season, as we learn more about players, is it's very varied. It's hard to kind of guess what their platform is going to be. People see Ron, that you're like a notable Twitch streamer. You're in a Nullsec Alliance, big into test, and like the crux of your campaign is educating players and like making some NPE improvements, which I think people probably wouldn't expect if they didn't listen to this. But the CSM is entering its 16th term. There have been a ton of incredibly talented players over the last 15 terms of the CSM. Who is a candidate, past or present, that you like really align with, or that you really respect for what they've done on the CSM?
I think, really respect. I don't necessarily align with everything that he stands for, and and he was sort of anti-us, but Omeka Gold, like this is a guy that had a belief in something, and he did what he had to do. He got on the CSM, and and he made changes, or at least helped make changes, and he made a mark. And I always respect someone who will stand up for what they believe is right, and they'll go to whatever lengths they need to go to accomplish it. So love him or hate him, he set out to do something. And one of his tweet from the very first meeting, I thought of all of the CSM tweets, it was the most powerful tweet, right? Because he said, I can tell you without a doubt that no CSM member is actually seeking, kind of self-serving, rules and anything. And of anyone on that panel, he would have been the guy to call it out, right? I thought that was just such a powerful statement from someone that's outside of that. And he came in and said, hey, no, man, it's on the up and up. And, he went in and he did things. So love him or hate him, he stood up for what he believed in.
Right on. Okay. Ron, I think that was definitely a range of very interesting ideas, to say the least. You have absolutely a lot to bring into the table, and I think you made a very strong and appealing case. Before we will let you go, is there any message you would like to share with our viewers and EVE Online community?
I hope that when you guys look at all the CSM candidates, that and not me, I don't care about me, but you look and you read all of the bios and you get to know all of the candidates, all 47 of us, because you don't necessarily have to vote for the show pony. Just saying. There's a couple of smaller guys that have a lot of really great things to say. I've met a bunch of them since this has started, and they might not get all the limelight, but there's a bunch of really great candidates, and I might not be the right guy for you, but that's okay. I'm sure there's 10 that are.
Right on. Okay. Ron, thanks a lot for taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk to us today. It was a pleasure to have you over. But now we are gonna keep the ball rolling. We still have 4 amazing human beings waiting there to talk to us. So without any stopping, we're gonna transition quickly and come back with yet another CSM candidate. Don't go anywhere. Hello, welcome everybody. Glad to see you're all here. We still got 4 amazing candidates, and right now we're welcoming Teddy Gbyc. Teddy, how are you doing, buddy?
Great. I'm glad it's a Friday with a nice long weekend.
It's Monday off?
Yeah, it's bank holiday in the UK, so you'll get Monday off.
That's pretty cool. You got already some plans sorted out for this extended break?
Little things. Maybe try and go to a pub now that they've all opened.
That's a bless. Would love a little pint of something, British pub maybe at the end of the year. We'll see. But before we're gonna get to that, we got some spaceships to talk about. So, Teddy, thanks a lot for coming over and chatting with the community. If you've been following, you definitely know the flow of those interviews. You're gonna have 10 minutes. If you can do us an honor and just introduce yourself, talk a little bit more. What do you do? What's your EVE background? And why people should be putting you on the top of their CSM16 ballots, all right?
Sure.
Go on.
Yes. Name's Teddy Gbyc. Joined Wormhole Space about 5 years ago. Before then, I was just sort of an industrialist in Norsec. Lived out in Provi. Got bored of that life. Decided to just do something different. Moved into a wormhole. Pretty much since then, I've been either a director, an FC, or even a CEO of a wormhole corp at that point. So yeah, that's sort of the main history of me. And now at the moment, co-CEO of Foxholers. I know quite a few of you know. There's quite a few CCP that are in line for hoodies at the moment. They're in the post. It's the old CCP bribe. We live in a C4. We have done for about a year now. Yeah, we just chill, fight everything, engage everything in stupid jack of outfits. But let's move on. So the main reasons why I wanted to sort of run for CSM, the sort of last year of having no CSM on wormhole or CSM on the has sort of proven that we need one. We need like minority group representation. There's been quite a few changes this year. They've really sort of proven that CCP needs that voice that says why or what would this impact. And I think I can do that. I think I have the experience. I've been as high-level FCs for quite a long time, know mechanics quite deeply, and have sort of the support group and the connections to double-check myself.
Okay, so if you would get elected on the CSM, have you put any thought how would you like to interact with the players and collect feedback and kind of convey it back into CCP? Do you have any particular strategy on this?
Not a massive strategy. I'm staff on TIS. I'm also a moderator. We've also just started up our own wormhole show called The Bonus Wave. It's quite sort of an open comm style show where we can get wormholers on. They can express their grievances, maybe even like teach new people more advanced wormhole mechanics. I think that will prove useful even if I don't get on CSM. Just to provide information, really. I think that's the entire purpose of the CSM, really.
Yeah, that actually leads into to the next question I have for you. What do you think is like the best purpose of the CSM? Just in your, I guess, in your vision of the CSM, how do you think it operates at like 100% efficiency?
Yeah, to me, the CSM really should just be about feedback and like catching like things that are outliers that maybe CCP hasn't thought of, and just try and highlight those issues, or even highlight issues that are currently in game that no one's thought of, no one's seen, that need fixing, or even just need attention.
That is very good. And what do you think distinguishes you from other potential like wormhole candidates that may be running for CSM16?
Yeah, a lot of the wormhole candidates are pretty highly skilled. We have Mark Resurrectus. He's been around in wormhole space for a good while now. Ideally, it would be nice to have more than one wormhole candidate, but we're such a small group. I think I have the slight edge on him in sort of the higher level mechanics, but he's very good at like the lower side, and he's pretty active in the community as well.
So part of the CSM, as you mentioned right there, they're involved at various stages of the design process when it comes to seeing things that are coming down the pipeline, like very early on, somewhere in the middle, then kind of closer for more polish. If you were elected to the CSM, what is, I'd say, like one big issue that you would like to see addressed above all else?
There's a few major issues that are really sort of hitting wormhole space at the moment. As a lot of people have seen in the MERs, blue loot is spiking pretty out of control. A lot of this is being caused by mass roaching fleets of battleships. These are pretty uncatchable, and it's skewed the risk versus reward of wormhole space. I think that's quite like the most critical issue that's facing wormhole space at the moment. It's drawing such negative attention, and a lot of wormholers are desperately afraid of a fix that will massively negatively impact them.
But that is definitely something that I've heard from the wormhole community before, where people would almost rather no fix than a fix that might be misguided or may not represent them entirely.
Yeah, and I think that sort of proves the point. There's quite sort of a negative connotation with CCP and wormhole space. A lot of people have quite negative feelings, and trying to get back good feedback and get good feelings towards CCP about certain things. I think that's where someone in the CSM can really shine, because obviously when you go to some like bumhole places, it's just pure negativity, and trying to filter that to actually find good solutions or even like good feedback can just be an absolute quagmire.
I really like the thought of probing the friendship back into some wormhole space.
It would be nice to try and get some get it back. We've felt quite neglected over the years.
Apart from wormhole space, what are you like most passionate about in Eve Online that you can bring to the CSM and to the conversation?
Yeah, outside of wormhole space, I started playing in the AT a couple of years ago. I played with GMBA, Glinting Militia Valor Accords. Didn't do too well. I didn't really have that much SP at the point, so I flew a Badger, the infamous Battle Badger, where we only won one match, but it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed the theory crafting behind it, and I would love to try and push towards getting another AT going again, or even just trying to support more tournaments in general. That sort of style of play, and the theory crafting behind it, is an immense amount of fun.
As someone who's been put into a ship with no prop mod before and told to just fire boosts off, Battle Badger seems like it might be an upgrade.
Yeah, our entire sort of comp was designed around me dropping boosters to our Basilisk, and pretty much just sitting there with the target painter.
Okay, Teddy. I mean, I think we understand clearly where you're coming from and what would you like to achieve coming into the CSM. I think from our side, we would absolutely love having a strong wormhole candidate on the council, whoever that would end up to be. My question to you would be, what would you say to the players in terms of why they should vote for you for the upcoming elections, or what they can expect that you will do if elected on the CSM?
Yeah, they can expect someone that desperately cares about wormhole space. A lot of people have similar arguments in various channels, like viciously defending wormhole space. I'm very approachable. Pretty much all of our Discords that I'm linked to are open and free to join. You can get to me on Discord anyway through PMs. You can get me to me on Twitter, even in game. I do occasionally log in, and I will usually try and fight for you. We may disagree, we may not, but that's the whole point of the CSM, is to bring someone's arguments to CCP if it's a strong enough argument, regardless of whether you agree or not. So I think sort of a nice sort of neutral approach is why people should vote for me.
Right on. Okay. Teddy, I think this is great. Guys, you've heard it. You know exactly what's going to happen if you vote for Teddy in the upcoming elections. Teddy, do you have anything lined up in terms of interviews? Can players see you anywhere else? Or, you know, what's happening? Where they can learn more about you and your campaign?
Yeah, you can grab me on Panda's stream tomorrow. And then I may be on DTM stream on Sunday. May or may not be. Other than that, you can catch me on Astrothi's YouTube channel. Did the interview yesterday, so it should be up today, maybe tomorrow. It was a lot of fun talking to him again. It's been a long time since we sort of caught up. Yeah. Other than
Sweet.
that, you can just grab me on TAS or grab me on Twitter.
Cool. Awesome. Right. Well, I'm looking forward to see how your campaign is gonna develop, and I'll definitely check out your appearance tomorrow on Pando's stream. But for now, Teddy, thanks a lot for coming up. It was a pleasure talking to you. I hope you're gonna enjoy your long weekend and go out there and have a couple of pints.
Yeah, hopefully we may actually get some sun as well, which would be nice.
God bless. All right, mate. Thanks a lot. Guys, we are gonna be coming with yet another candidate, so definitely don't go anywhere. Couple of minutes of transition, and then we're gonna be right back. One. Welcome back, everybody. There we go. We are in the final two candidates for today. Final three, excuse me. Almost jumped the gun right there, but we are here now together with Hurleyalex Hurley. Harley, how are you doing?
I'm alright. How are you guys?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. It's a fantastic Friday. We had a lot of great interviews, and hopefully there's gonna be 3 more amazing ones that we're gonna be having here together. But you've been around, you exactly know what's gonna happen. So I know our viewers are eager to learn more about yourself. If you can just do us the pleasure and introduce yourself, talk a little bit about your EVE Online history, talk to us about your campaign, and then we're gonna do a series of very, short, rapid questions.
No. So I started in 2013 with like a few groups of friends. Back then, obviously, the new player experience wasn't as good as it was now. It was more that you end up getting into it when you played with a lot of your friends at the time, and that got me into it eventually. But I took a break and I came back and I started doing high-sec incursions for about a year, and I ran a lot of Warp-to-Me's Logi wing fleets, where I'd control their Logi, which is where I learned a lot about how Logi works in their fleets and stuff like that. I ended up taking a break for a little while and coming back, where I then learned how to FC incursions, which is my first dip into FCing. So I spent, I'll admit, a fair amount in high sec, kind of like just care bearing around. Then after a year of that, I came into Test, where I am now. And when I joined Test, I spent a good year or so as a normal line member, crabbing away as you do, and doing fleets. And then in the past year or so, I became an FC for Test and worked my way up the ladder. And that's where I am now. I've learned a lot over the past year of the mechanics, and especially how the community sees certain mechanics, along with, let's say, recent updates and stuff. And I'll admit, with the most recent update with our new walk core stabs and stuff, it's been a more of a negative opinion to it than from what I've heard of. But that's mainly because I think the way it was implemented to start off with, not the update itself. Perhaps it could have been rolled out slightly better. But my aim, as hopefully to be a CSM member, is to look at the way we implement updates, as well as our community. We make sure we look after the communities inside as well, because it's nothing to beat around the bush, but I know personally I suffer with mental health stuff, and I know that a lot of people use these groups, whether it's your corpse, or I know there's a group that goes around specifically in EVE, where there's a channel where you can go in if you struggle with your mental health and stuff, and they come and help you, and they talk to you and try and be there with you. And I want to make sure, especially groups like this, stay together, because it can, especially, I bet a lot of people have noticed during COVID, and so like you've relied a lot more on your online presence than anything else, and those friends have probably become a lot more distinct to you. But that's the gist, basically, of what's happened to me over the past couple of years. What I mainly want to focus on, which is the way we implement the updates and the way the community sees it. Because I know with the recent updates, it's perhaps maybe nerfed some things out of existence completely. Like, you can talk like your Pete's and your T3Cs are now almost basically unusable with the nullification stuff, where you can't use nullification at all unless you're basically traveling. And if you're traveling, you may as well kind of like just use the shuttles at the moment.
Okay, that's a very very nice way to put it, I guess. I know it's a topic that garnered a lot of attention, and one of the roles of the CSM, of course, is to relay some of that information to CCP in a meaningful manner to sort of, I don't want to say filter out the noise, because the noise is very important, but to make sure that we understand the crux of the issue. That's not the CSM isn't the only tool we have, but it is definitely very handy in our belt of tools. On that note, what do you think is the best role for the CSM as a player group?
The CSM as a group, I believe, is more of a way for feedback to become without a lot of the kind of like noise as well, like you were saying, where you've got where you have certain groups that perhaps maybe are biased in certain ways, but it's to try and get the general opinion of the community base. I mean, what like Ron said, one thing that I also believe is very important is the new player experience. Like, making sure that is still as tidy as it can be, and more as generous towards new players, because we don't want to lose people who are coming in, and especially keeping the game, and who are looking for content, because it's not always the older members that will sustain the game in the long term. Along with stuff like the resource distribution patch, although I agree with it in a whole, obviously I know that a lot of people have started to realize it can't last forever. Like, where a lot of people have realized, especially with even though I've been in playing for the past like 5 years or so, but I know that like certain things are without my grasp, completely. Like, I know that it will probably, if I wanted to do it properly, if I wanted to get a Titan, it would probably take me a good year or two or something like that, where perhaps I believe it like of just grinding ISK, where perhaps I believe it should be maybe slightly more forgiving in certain areas like that. So it's making sure that CCP are aware of the opinions of the community and issues that need to be raised. Perhaps like the way that the most recent update was implemented, it could have been implemented slightly smoother than it was, with a few different tweaks here and there, without completely, let's say, blocking off certain content.
Yeah, I mean, those conversations and collaboration that we have with the CSM is certainly very important. And I think one of the primary kind of roles that we do expect and try to work with the CSM on. So I really like the angle you're coming from here. But one of the other questions that we kind of have here on our hand is the 16th elections for the CSM. It's, you know, it's a program and a project that has been running on for years and years already. I'm curious to hear if there is any candidate in the past or, you know, among the current members right now that you really respect and you feel that, hey, they've been doing a good job, you know, it's you know, somebody to look up to or use as an kind of, you know, inspiration to becoming a similar CSM member should you get elected yourself?
I wouldn't say any particular member as a whole. It's more of the entire CSM, because it's the way everybody views their different opinions. I look at it as there's no point as any single, let's say, CSM member being like on there by the whole, because they all bring different points of views from different communities, whether it's from goons, Pappy, wormholes, high sec, or whatever. If you remove one of those, you remove a lot of the main information from the game. You can't neglect any specific player base. So, like I say, if you're going to vote for someone, make sure you vote for someone that's more aligned with your gameplay and your ideas. There's no point in just voting for someone because somebody tells you to. Because I know specifically a lot of the alliances do that, where they pull out the ballots that say, here's our recommended voting for our alliance or whatever. But I more encourage people to use your own brain and see who aligns to what you want as a general, and making sure that those people have the opinions that you want as well. Because especially if you follow those ballots, you might end up voting for someone who decides that your gameplay that you like should be nerfed because they think it's bad, where perhaps maybe your opinions are different.
That's a great response. Thank you very much. Swift, do you have anything else up your sleeve there?
No, I think you actually covered quite a lot of the topics or the questions that we kind of designed for you. So that's really well done. Part of the CSM comes down to communication. I guess the one thing I would ask you is, if elected, how do you plan to communicate to the community, not only to the people who voted for you, but to everyone else?
Obviously, I'm mainly ingrained in test culture, right? So I get a lot of my opinions from test. However, I also go around and I do dip back into my high sec roots with the high sec incursions and the people who live in high sec. Kind of like, so I like to jump around from community to community to make sure I've still got an idea of what everybody thinks without trying to keep a biased opinion, because at the end of the day, every member is going to have a biased opinion to their specific group that they're in, regardless of whether they're a wormhole or no sec, low sec, or whatever. So it's just trying to keep whatever culture you're ingrained in, to try and keep a broad spectrum of ideas and open to new suggestions. Like if I disagree with someone's gameplay, whatever, I might go, well, no, I'm always down to sit there and chat and go, right, okay, so why do you think that? What do you think benefits it this way? Why does this benefit? Like you had the ganker guy on earlier. I don't necessarily agree with ganking. However, I'm more than open to sit there and chat with people who are pro ganking and to sit there and hear their ideas and their experiences and why they think it's more beneficial for the game. Where perhaps my opinion, where my encounters with gankers are more negative.
Okay, all right. Harley, our time is up. Thanks a lot, mate, for visiting us on this Friday evening, afternoon, and talking to the community about what you want to bring to the CSM and what do you believe the CSM is. Do you yourself have anything lined up in terms of interviews? Are there any upcoming shows that you're planning to visit so we can send people that way if they're interested to learn more about you?
I don't currently, unfortunately. However, I'm open for anybody who wants to invite me onto any of their shows. But if you do want to get hold of me, I know in my posts on the forums, there's a link to my Discord, which I'm always on, which you can ping me, talk to me, or ask me any questions at any point in time. Or if you don't want to use Discord, I'm always like an email away, and I respond to every email I do get.
All right, that's perfect. Harley, once again, thanks a lot. I wish you good luck with your campaign. We still got plenty of time before the voting commences on the 8th of June. For our viewers right now, we still got a couple of candidates lined up, so don't go anywhere. We're gonna be right back. Next in line, we have Jim Halescott waiting to talk to you about the spaceships again. Just give us a couple of minutes and we're gonna be right back. Hi, all right, there we go. The last two candidates for today. Welcome, Jim Halescott. Jim, good morning. How are you doing? I know it's very
Uh,
early for you.
yes, good morning from the base of Mount Fuji. It's almost 6:15 in the morning here. I've dragged myself out of bed. Shows my dedication to the game. I dragged myself out of bed, ran to the store to get some breakfast, and I'm here today to have a nice conversation with the community and CCP. Hello, good morning.
Hi, wonderful. Right on. So, what would you say? Let's start with some basics. Uh, Talk to us, tell us a little bit more about yourself. What do you do? How do you get involved in the community overall? And also, it would be nice to hear uh, where do you think your expertise lies, and obviously why people should be considering you for the next CSM16 elections in June. Okay?
Okay, so as a lot of people probably know, I'm one of the moderators for the EVE Online Facebook group. I've been heavily involved with the community for a considerable amount of time. I do a lot of role playing, and I like to role play the bad guy quite a lot. And I think a lot of people probably know that I kind of spearheaded the Citadel theft thing back in, I suppose, early 2017, a long time ago. But unlike a lot of the other candidates that we've been seeing over the election for the last few days, who've spoken at length about their in-game achievements and their, what they do in-game, I've decided not to really bore the audience or CCP with that specifically. And if anybody is actually interested in speaking to me about what I actually do directly in-game, you're more than welcome to speak to me about that at some point in the future. Right now, however, I'm going to be talking about why I believe I deserve one of your votes in CSM16. And I believe what the community needs to remember is that the CSM campaign isn't about me. It's not about the other candidates either, but really it's about the community that we represent and the community's choice of who represents them. The CSM is about EVE's future, and our personal aspirations as CSM candidates should be only a very small part of why we are running for CSM. We need to remember that the CSM themselves have no actual direct power over the future updates and plans that CCP has for EVE Online, and therefore the CSM is only really an advisory body of experienced players. We are, and who are willing to set aside the time to assist the community in understanding the reason behind some of the upcoming changes and gathering feedback from the community and communicating that feedback to CCP in an efficient manner so CCP can deliver a fair and balanced game to the entire EVE community. So far, many of the CSM candidates have been describing their toons and characters in EVE, but not really describing their personality in real life. I believe that since us candidates that will be representing you both in-game and out of game as a player base, it seems only fitting to me that you all deserve to learn a little more about me as a person in real life and not so much as a character. A lot of you will probably know that in-game I have a bit of a reputation for gameplay that often others may consider nefarious. Outside of game, however, I am an educator. I work in a school and occasionally a kindergarten. I'm loved by my students. One of my kindergarten students in particular gives me a leaf every morning. It's really adorable. Why? I have no idea, but she gets on the bus and she gives me a leaf. And she doesn't really talk much, but she will. And I've now got this small collection of leaves in my desk at work. It's the cutest thing in the world. And my point is, how can someone be as loathsome as I am in EVE, but also kind, gentle, and loved by his students in real life? As I've said in the past on the Facebook group and in Discord channels to most people that have met me, I merely role play the bad guy in game and on the Facebook group, but I'm honestly a big teddy bear in real life. That being said, I regard the CSM as something which is out of game, and therefore it will receive the attention and seriousness that it deserves. I don't view the CSM position as a bit of fun or even as a holiday to Iceland. I view the CSM position as a serious placement of trust from the EVE community. Being a member of the CSM bears with it the weight of responsibility and trust from the player base, and I believe that I have what it takes to make a positive difference for you as a player and for CCP as a company. I bring something different to the table than my opponents. I'm not backed by any major null block wormhole group or low sec group or any high sec group. My focus is not all in one area of the game, but rather my focus is on the overall health and longevity of the game. Through my work as a mod on the Facebook group, I have become a member of this community that actively engages and listens to the community at large. I think those qualities are very important to have when you're running for the CSM. I'm not going to hermit away and disappear. I'm here to work. I'm here to listen to the community feedback and improve the game. I want to be able to log in the future and see the player count flourishing like it did back in the early 2010s when we had nearly 50 to 60,000 people online at any one time. And I think really over the last maybe 5 to 6 years, we've seen that number decrease, really ever since, weirdly enough, since the introduction of the upwell structures. And I'm not entirely sure why the player count has dropped so significantly since they've been introduced. But regardless of that, I think that we can do better to attract more people into the game and keep them. And I think that's one of my main goals for running on the CSM, is to make the game fairer, to make the game more interesting, to add more content to the game, especially a lot of niche content, which people can get into, which is somewhat more difficult to get into, but something which is more interesting to get into rather than the normal stuff that the large majority of people do in the game. And I really think that we can do better as a community and as a video game. And that's what I would like to see going forward.
Oh, that was absolutely really well put forward, well reasoned arguments and statements that you made, explaining why candidates should vote for you, and very much what you're about.
Do you have any questions, or anybody got questions? I'm totally open. We've got 4 minutes left, so.
Oh wow, we got questions. Don't worry about that. And there are a few player questions as well from chat that we might be able to get to later. But you mentioned you are a very big part of a certain part of the community, specifically the Facebook community. If elected, do you have any plans on branching out from that community, or would you kind of prefer to stay there and drag people, not necessarily drag people, but direct people to that community in order to interact with you?
Actually, I think one of the best things I would love to see, if elected, but even if I'm not elected, so anybody who is going to be elected on the CSM, and let's say it's not me, but when the CSM is elected, I really think that it would be really beautiful and brilliant to see a Discord server, a official Discord server for the CSM, and all of the CSM people who've been elected are in there. And they've all got, they've maybe got like separate channels either for themselves, or they've got like their specialities. And then any player from the EVE community can join that Discord channel, and the CSM members can work as a team. They can contribute all of their specialities together, and they can have, everything that they need all in one place. So instead of people going to like separate Discords, or they're going to like, or they're messaging people in game, the CSM members in game, or they're messaging them on Facebook, having one localized area to have where all of the CSM members are would probably be the best thing to do. Obviously, we've got the EVE Facebook forums for that, but I think maybe a Discord thing where we can actually talk directly over voice would be very beneficial. If elected personally, I would be encouraging the other CSM members to get involved with that, and I would be looking at office hours where I would be every weekend, probably on a Saturday, on a Sunday, maybe for 2 to 3 hours each day, depending on how busy my schedule is in real life. I'm planning to have open office hours where I will be on the Discord waiting for anybody that wants to come in and talk to me. And if people want to talk to me privately about things, that can also be an option, and we will schedule that as well. But I do believe having a localized area where all of the CSM all of the CSM members getting together and working together as a team would probably be the best thing for the community and the game long term.
I can tell you're an educator with the office hours. That's very much fits what I would imagine.
I work 60 hours a week. I have to have office hours, unfortunately. Yeah.
So you mentioned that you have like a very well-rounded view of the game, and that you kind of wish to represent the game itself rather than one specific area. But that aside, do you think you have a certain expertise within the game that you could bring to the CSM that maybe is a blind spot on CSM 15 or CSMs in the past?
So I think my expertise, which I've been doing really for the last 3 to 4 years, has been connecting different mechanics within the game, which are not directly related to each other, and mixing them together to create something new or something niche. So, for example, when the cargo drop was added to Upworld structures, the cargo drop exists. If for people that don't know, the cargo drop exists. If you were to warp over to an Upworld structure now and just right click, and then right at the bottom there's like cargo drop, you can access this if the structure is public or not public. So even if you don't have access to dock there, you can still access this, and you can drop assets inside. So you can drop anything inside, so from your cargo into the structure. But when the structure inevitably blows up or unanchors, or when it goes into abandoned mode or anything like that, you get notifications because you've got assets inside. So I was actually using that information from the notifications that I was getting after essentially seeding every single structure in the large majority of the game. Over 90% of the game, I had put 1 titanium in every structure. It was over a year or two, or work to get that done. It was a very long process, but I was getting pings here, there, and everywhere, and I was able to use a mechanic such as the cargo drop, which initially was put into the game to help combat courier contract scams, I believe. I was able to use that mechanic more in a PvP way to steal structures, to find out information on when they've just unanchored or when they've just exploded, and I can then go over there and try and steal the loot or try and steal the structure. But also it gives me real-time information on which structure is currently high powered, which structure is currently low powered, and which structure is abandoned or going into abandoned within 2 days, so then I can war deck them and get the kill. So and that was a very niche gameplay that I've been exploiting for quite a while now. So that's pretty much my main expertise, is finding out some of the new mechanics which are coming into the game, mixing them with old mechanics to see how can I use these new things which are coming up, and how can I mix them with old stuff to make something that's totally new, totally something that's novel and unique compared to what the large majority of the player base is doing. But also that gives me the ability to show CCP that even though even though CCP's plans for the updates are coming out, they can be exploited in a number of ways, which would be better, I think, if CCP doesn't want that sort of gameplay to go ahead, then they can change their plans to make that better and fairer for the game overall.
Right on. Okay. Jim, we're a little bit out of time here, but I think that was a great
Yes, I
chat.
apologize.
You don't have to apologize for anything. We're actually managed to catch up with our schedule. We have a little bit more time, so by all means, this doesn't change anything. But I think that was great. Jim, thank you very much for sharing all of your thoughts. I think, I can understand and see how your skill set and experience would be something players might want to consider to put as a, invest as a candidate. So definitely I would like to wish you luck with your campaign for the CSM16. Everybody, friends, you've heard it. You know where you can find Jim. You know what he does. Maybe just before we'll call it, Jim, is there any other shows or interviews that you are planning to have in the next few days, in case there are still some players out there that would like to learn more before making the decision to vote for you or not?
I've got a meeting coming up, an interview with Ashtarothi today, I believe, and another one with another person, which I can't fully remember the name of right now. But I absolutely welcome anybody, even if you don't do streams or anything like that. If you want to speak to me about what I believe in, or if you would like to learn more about me, you know where to contact me. You can send me an in-game mail, and I will reply to that either via my phone or in-game as soon as I possibly can. And we will set a date and a time, and we'll have a nice chat. It's been a real pleasure being here. Thank you very much for having me.
Pleasure's all ours. Thank you very much, Jim. Guys, don't go anywhere. We still have one more candidate we're gonna be interviewing tonight, Mike Azariah. Give us a couple of minutes. We will bring the Magic School Bus into your TV screens. Sit tight. And there we have it. As we've just said, we saved the best for last. Mike Azariah, the man driving the bus across the universe. Mike, how are you doing on this lovely day? And you are muted, my friend.
We were just hearing from you not too long ago, but it looks like maybe your boom's down.
Yeah, no, I got
Okay, there
it.
you
No,
go.
don't worry. I got a desk mic. It's just if I'm not active on this screen, the mic doesn't trigger. So it's my foolishness.
It happens to the best of us. So let's do it one more time, Mike. How are you, man?
I am good. Been doing a bit of gardening this morning, waiting for this to happen, coming in and listening and taking part in the side chat, but ready to go.
Well, then let's not wait any longer. Mike, you tell us everything there is about yourself, all of your strengths, all of the crazy things you're doing in game, just so players can really understand what hides behind the beardy face of Mike Azariah.
Yeah, and you're only giving me 10 minutes to cover everything. Great.
Hey, it's a challenge. I never said
My
it's gonna
name
be
is
easy.
Mike Azariah. My real name is actually Mike. I am a retired teacher because I agree with what Ron was just saying, that you're not electing a pilot, you're electing a person. Once we're here, we're not representing our little group. We're not trying to see who has the best kill board or the best kill ratio, that sort of thing. We're trying to make the game better. So you're trying to pick people who represent the game's interests, maybe your interests as well. So a bit about what I do in the game is just to give you a hint of the kind of person I am, what I do. As we've been joking about the bus, I drive Operation Magic School Bus, which is a bowhead that goes around to the various career systems and hands out free fitted ships to pilots who are less than 30 days old. I also pretty much live in Rookie Help Chat, have done both of these things for over 6 years, and my main facing is the new player experience and getting people to come into the game, stay in the game, give it a decent chance, because if you've watched CCP Rise's talk, the churn, the speed that we lose players who are just beginning before they even get into the game for even an hour is phenomenal. We have a huge number of players who start the game and quit almost immediately. And maybe for some of them, it's not the right game. If they came straight to Eve from Fortnite, it's not going to be the best fit. But I want to give them a chance to learn what Eve is. So that's one of the focuses I've had, is to give people a nice start. I don't hand out ISK, I hand out fitted ships so they can actually see what a fitted ship looks like, as opposed to just the current new player experience that gives them an unfitted ship and says, here, go fly this in a mission. Oh, by the way, one of these ships will blow up when you think it's going to do something. That's number 5 in the advanced military, for those of you keeping score. I have served on 4 CSMs now. I was on CSM 8, 9, and 10, as well as just finishing off CSM 15. I have run in at least 7 or 8 CSM elections, so I've lost almost as many as I have won. I am a high-sec care bear. I mainly, when I'm dealing with CCP and the CSM, focus on what the effects of changes will be for the casual players, for the high-sec miners, for the people who don't have a null block and alarm clock pings and calls to arms, just people who are playing this game as a game, not a lifestyle. Unfortunately, over the years, I've wound up with this being my lifestyle, but I still represent the other people. The worst part is the fact that I represent the people who are least likely to vote. So I represent HiSec. HiSec never organizes and gets people in. I represent the new players. Well, hell, alphas can't vote anyways. And so quite often I am listed in people when they're talking about blogs or chat saying who's going to get elected next time. It's always, these people will get elected for sure, and they'll name the nullsec block leaders. And they said, it'd be nice if Mike got in, but he probably won't. And quite often they're right. But I come here, I talk to you guys. To take one of your questions away from you, Swift, I did do a chat with Ash Dorothy. Eve Uni just released a talk I gave about a week ago on the history of the CSM, so you can check that out if you want. I hot drop a ton of podcasts. It's kind of like it's a running gag that I'll show up and sometimes I'm almost like a combo breaker because everybody's yelling at each other, and then I just say something that's semi-logical and they all stop and go, oh yeah, we're talking about Eve. I am a retired teacher. I have time. I have health issues now and again. 2020 was a really rough year for me. But right now, unless the doctor tells me otherwise, I'm a healthy old guy. I am good at explaining things to people. I am good at listening. I am one of the 2 CSM members currently who does show up on the forums and on r/Eve and Reddit and wherever else and talks to the players. Like, go out and see how much you hear from some of the CSM members, and then go out and see how much people like Brisc and myself engage, listen, take things back, and try to be a reasonable human being to talk to you about the game and to take some of your ideas to CCP. Now, on the other hand, if you say, I'd like a drone that does 1,000 DPS raw, I'm not going to take that idea to CCP because it's a stupid idea. But if you come to me with an idea that actually has some legs and is viable and not unbalancing for the game, I will be the person who will be there poking the bear and asking the questions and being very patient. But Dopamine and Swift can say, I am not the quiet bunny in the corner because I'm a high-sec guy and everybody else is from violent parts of space. I take part in the conversations for CSM, have for years. And even when I'm not there, I take part and chat with people about what CSM is, what it could be, and what I think it should be. So, okay, go ahead, fire away with the questions.
Well, I mean, you did an incredible job so far. For people that maybe missed it, you are currently on CSM15, an incumbent looking for re-election. I did have a bit of an odd question for you that others might not get because of your history. But how have you seen the CSM evolve over the years while you've been either in the CSM or at least very close to the CSM?
I've been following it a lot, and I find that every CSM tries to define itself. And so I was there when we actually got voted with CCP Seagull as stakeholders in the situation, but I was there before that, and it was almost like we were just a sounding box. Each year has its own way of defining. CSM10 removed officers from the CSM, so nobody was better than somebody else. We don't hold a lot of elections within this CSM to vote for what we're going to take forward. Everybody gets a shot, and CCP this year has been very nice with giving us time with the executive producers, for example, doing what we called elevator pitches, which I really enjoyed working on, where each CSM member got a chance to do a 10-minute pitch for changes we would like to see brought forward. This sort of thing means that I can't tell you what the CSM this coming year will be. It will depend on the dynamic of the players, how many incumbents we have, because quite often that makes a big difference. If you have a lot of the old guard, they say, this is the way it's running, try to keep up, rookies. On the other hand, if you only have one or two incumbents and a lot of new people being elected, then the CSM gets to reinvent itself and decide how it wants to go forward, how it wants to deal with people. It was quite funny. One of the early things I said this year in the CSM, a whole bunch of the others went, no, that's not how it works. And I said, dudes, you've had 1 year on and I've had 3. But go ahead and tell me how CCP works and how to talk to them. I'm enjoying this.
You definitely bring some gravitas to the position, which cannot be overlooked.
I only have gravitas because I'm large enough and heavy enough to be my own gravitational body. That's
So,
a science jokes for you guys keeping score on the side.
Everyone knows, or at least should know, about the Magic School Bus and your efforts to help with new player experience and help that onboarding process and reduce the churn. What else would you say is an area of the game that you feel like you bring that covers a blind spot within the CSM and for CCP?
I think CCP is used to answering to a lot of large organizations and sometimes forgets the solo pilot, the single guy who just is starting. Like a new player doesn't have a ton of ISK. For them, the first time they make 1 million is a milestone. And you do see people going, finally, I got 1 million ISK. And the vets there are laughing at them, but these guys have no clue how big the pool that they're just in the wading pool on the side, how big the pool they're stepping into really is and how vicious the sharks are. So I try to think in terms of the little guy, whether it's a new player, whether it's a casual player. I mean, Eve has a very older population. And so as a result, you have people who have families, who have jobs, who have responsibilities. It's not something we're coming home from high school and doing this instead of homework. We have dishes to do. We have wives who have expectations of us in the kitchen and in the bedroom. And because of that, we have to be able to live a life and play this game, or, well, I don't like the term winning Eve. One thing I would appreciate, Swift, before the end is if you can find the Winning an Eve video for them to look at. If you want to see a longer talk than my time's up 10 minutes, watch my talk at for Eve Vegas 2017. I did a talk called Winning in Eve, and that'll give you a real good idea of how I think and how I talk.
Right on, definitely. Mike, before we gonna part ways for today, the same question as I'm asking pretty much everybody. You said you like to hot drop in all the different shows. Do you have anything lined up? Is there any target you're planning to invade in the next few days, just to, let our viewers know if they would like to hear you talk a little bit more and see, what you represent? Where can they do this?
Well, like I said, Ashtarothi just dropped the interview that we did yesterday, and I know it just went out to YouTube, so there's one of them. I would like to, I'm hoping to hit Trash Talk Tuesday again. They told me I'm welcome there. And if there's any other podcasts out there, discussions groups that would like me to show up, just send me an invite. And the good Lord and my wife willing, I'm not sure who's more powerful in this situation, but them willing, I will be there with bells on. I'm a little harder to hear when the bells are ringing, so I wasn't wearing them for this one, but I will show up.
Right on. Okay. Awesome, Mike. Thanks a lot for sitting down with us and talking about EVE Online. Very much good luck in the upcoming elections. I can see with the Twitch chat that there is a lot of support towards you, so I think you did a great job. For everybody watching us right now on Twitch and on Facebook, Mike was the last candidate that we've been interviewing for today, but do not fret, tomorrow we have yet another set of amazing candidates that will be coming to us and talking to you why you should be voting for them in the upcoming CSM elections. For tonight, that will be pretty much everything for us. However, you should not be turning off from Twitch, because Astarothi is just going live and will be bringing CCP Fozzy to talk about the Stargate Trailblazer event. So if you haven't really fulfill your dose for EVE Online today, you should absolutely stay over here. We're gonna be raiding them together, so you don't really have to do anything. Just click the button, and then you're gonna have another amazing and very insightful conversation of what's going on in game. Other than that, I would like to thank you for staying with us and listening to all of the candidates. Big shout out to you, Mike, and to the rest of the gang who actually take the time to sit with us. And CCP Swift, you have been amazing. We will be back tomorrow, so don't go anywhere. And now we're gonna take you to Astarothi. Thank you very much.